How's everybody doing tonight? My name is Anthony Brian Logan. Thank y'all for tuning in to ABL Live. You could be anywhere in the world, but you're right here with me, and I definitely appreciate you for that. We got quite a few topics on deck for tonight. I guess the first one would be the Wuhan coronavirus. Somebody said it was called the Kung flu. I would never say a thing like that. That is not sensitive, but somebody said that. We'll move right along, though. All jokes aside, it's a very serious disease. How did it come about? There's some controversy there. Some are saying that, it was planted by the Chinese government. It was an accident because there's a lab right there in Wuhan. And then, of course, if you eat a bat that's like halfway not even dead and live baby rats, maybe that's not really sanitary, and maybe that's how you were spreading the disease. Because remember, when SARS came about in 2003, they were talking about bats and rats and stuff like that. Remember, rats caused the plague that killed, like 1/3 of Europe at a particular point in time. So if rats and bats are the same, bats ain't nothing but flying rats, then you can understand where the disease came from. We'll talk about that and much more on tonight's episode of ABL Live. And again, I thank you for joining me tonight. I definitely appreciate you. If you like the channel, if you like the content, please like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff for me. That'll help me out a whole lot here. And hello to everybody in the room. Thank y'all for joining. But yeah, the Wuhan virus is spreading. They're talking about, I don't even know what the death toll is now. The death toll is very high. At one point, they were saying like 17 people. Hold on. Let's look it up now. So they're saying the death toll is now 42, and there's 1,300 people sick. Most of the illnesses are in mainland China, and all of the deaths, from what we've been told, are in mainland China. But that could most certainly change. And the way they're saying this virus is spreading is through coughing. So it's, highly contagious. I've seen this movie before. I know pretty much what goes on here. I know how these things happen. But I think with modern technology, we'll be able to have a lid on it. I hope. Who knows? Now, I think the controversy is, how did the whole thing start? People are saying that there's a facility in Wuhan. I've seen reports of that, but I've not confirmed it. I'm not saying it's untrue, but I've not confirmed it. I'm pretty sure I could confirm it if I looked a little bit, but I've not confirmed it. Anyway, people are saying that there's a facility in Wuhan where these kinds of viruses and whatnot are handled. Maybe they were trying to create a bioweapon. Maybe they just let some SARS get out, or they were testing a vaccine on a different strain and it got out by accident. I'm seeing videos that may or may not be of the virus. I think what's happening right now is that it's a lot of information coming out from all over the place. And the thing about China, it can be hard to disseminate information. The state media will just cover it up. They won't even tell you what's going on. They'll tell you what they want you to know. Okay. And what they want us to know is that Wuhan and Hong Kong and a bunch of other cities that are around it have been shut down, like kind of under quarantine. And to give you the scope of how big that is, Wuhan and Hong Kong by themselves are the size of LA County, not just the city, but the county, and New York City respectively. Okay, so I think Wuhan is like the size of LA County, and Hong Kong is like the size of New York City, population-wise. Now, the total area exceeds just those two cities. You're talking about, like 45 to 50 million people total in those particular areas. So it's a pretty big area. I mean, the United States is only about 325 million. Like California is 50 million people. So think about the entire state of California being shut down. That's pretty much the equivalent of what's happening right now over in China, population wise. Okay. Not as far as percentage of the country population, because China's like 1.3 billion people. That's a lot of people. But that area, 50 million people on lockdown. Now, I don't know what that means. They're saying that it means no air travel into, maybe out of. You can't go to other cities. There's all kind of blockades there. But what about those that have already traveled? What if you already went to where you're supposed to go? Like, then what? Some people are saying that, oh, I have a cough. Oh, I may be sick. Let me go to the authorities and report myself. But everybody may not do that. Remember when the whole Ebola thing broke out? A doctor from New York decided to go over there, treat people, and then come back and go bowling. I mean, just stupid stuff, right? Spreading the disease if he had it all over the place. So you could have more people like this. If a doctor, a guy that went over there to help, did something boneheaded like that, imagine what your regular everyday normie would do. Not even really understanding what's going on with the whole situation. You do what I'm saying? So it is what it is. Shout out to O'Shea Duke Jackson, Hotep Allah. Thank you, Bear. Definitely appreciate you for your donation. Is Wuhan the oldest city in China? And when you say China, what do you mean? Do you mean like modern China? Like, because China, that's kind of a, do you count Tibet as part of China or Taiwan? And it's kind of complicated, but we'll move on. Also, like Inner Mongolia, is that But we'll move on again. A person whose username is white privilege, WIGHT privilege, says, my son works for TSA and they won't let them wear masks because they don't want to spread fear to airline passengers. Yikes. Well, I mean, at a certain point, I can understand that. But at the same time, it's like, okay, I'm not trying to catch this disease. Some of these videos that are coming out, it's scary. You seeing people just drop dead. Like I said, that might be of the illness, or it may not be. It could be current. It may not be. We're talking about China. Everything from the state media will be censored, and then what you get on our social media, it may or may not be legitimate. Who knows? China, I mean, it's a place where everything's fake. I'm seeing stories about when you go to China, they got to tell you what you can eat and what you can't eat, or what you should eat and should not eat, because there's so much fake food over there. One thing about China, and this is kind of a topic that has not really been touched on that much, in my humble opinion. One thing about China is that it's a communist state. Now, what is one thing that's always a problem under a communist state, especially with 1.3 billion people? Would it be 1.3 billion people? Food. It's always going to be an issue with food in the communist state. China has some money. They're doing okay economically, but food is going to be a problem in these communist states. Okay? They don't have much arable land. I mean, just think about it like this. During the whole Great Leap Forward, Mao Zedong was like, okay, rather than farming in your backyard, we need you to, have a steel, we need you to be, dealing with some steel in your backyard rather than farming. And a starvation happened. So a lot of the things that were problems back then with the mass starvation and deaths have not necessarily been fixed totally. They've been fixed, but at the same time, there's some problems with it. It's kind of been jerry-rigged. If you fix a problem with food shortage by delivering fake food, like fake rice, I'm talking about plastic rice and stuff like that, fake cabbage, all that kind of stuff they serve over here as well, then you didn't really necessarily, you solved the problem, but at the same time you didn't. Because you could say, all right, I'm hungry, and you say, here's a mud pie. I mean, I might be able to get nutrition out of it, maybe, but should I be eating mud? Should I be just eating dirt like a pig? Should I put my face into a trough and just eat the dirt? I probably shouldn't. So it's an issue with food over there. Now, is it an excuse to eat bats? That's still, I'm talking about vampire, like, I'm talking about like that. You understand what I'm saying? Is it an excuse to eat bats and put them in soup? I'm talking about the skin. This bat appeared to have fur on it. The girl bit into the fur of the bat. Look here. You might as well go outside and get some roadkill off the ground. Get you a possum, a skunk, a squirrel. Put that in the soup and chow on down. You might as well. What's the difference? You eating bats? And then one dude had live baby rats. They were like halfway live. Now, I thought that I might just been seeing things. It might have been an optical illusion, because I'm thinking, okay, I'm seeing rats looking like they're about to crawl away. Maybe it's my mind playing tricks on me, thinking that they're moving and they're living. But I looked at the video again. I looked closer, and the rats in this case were moving. Barely, but they were alive. This fool put some duck sauce on the rat with his chopsticks and chomped on down like it was nothing. Now, if you do something like that, the coronavirus or whatever they want to call it is not necessarily a surprise. Like I was saying earlier, during the plague, it was rats that came from China, ironically enough, through the Silk Road and went into Europe and caused them to fall ill. 1/3 of the population gone. So, I mean, they got to tighten up. Like, I wouldn't allow any traffic to come from Wuhan at all. No rail, no air, no boat, no road, no nothing. I don't even want a paper plane coming from Wuhan, a drone or nothing. No traffic in the immediate area at all. And if you got it, I need you to go into this room and we're going to just watch you for a few weeks, months, or whatever until you get right. All right? It is what it is. Of course, I've seen rats. I've seen the rat. I saw a rat like in the shed outside when I was in Virginia. I had it like I was seeing like in the shed. I would see like little droppings, and I think what happened was it was a hole in the bottom of the shed, like at the bottom of the door. It was like a little hole in the brick that was big enough for the rat to slip through. So I put a plastic trap in there and then I caught it. This thing had to have been like about that big. The thing was like a little cat in there. And then when I went to go get the trap, it was still living. So I didn't know what to do. I just put it in the bag and you know what I mean? That was a wrap. But it kind of like leaped at me. But I don't want to eat that. I'm not trying to have that be part of my dinner portions. You understand what I'm saying? So yeah. I no Chinese travel, none of that type of stuff going on. We don't want 28 days later, World War Z, Contagion. We don't want none of that type of stuff going on. You know, I'm not trying to have a Division 2 situation. You're going around, marauding around DC. It's a dystopian future. I don't want any of that for me at all. I want to live a nice, clean, healthy, and safe life. China, you got to tighten up whatever you got going on, whether it's, you know, your citizens eating bats in cafes or the facility in Wuhan, if there is one, releasing contagions. You got to tighten up. And then beyond that, you're also sending us in the States fentanyl, other types of fake drugs, fake heroin, fake fentanyl. Okay, you're sending us these drugs. You got your women coming over here, dropping anchor babies left and right. There was a bunch of Chinese illegals that got found in the boat. Like they got found in the hull of a boat, if I'm not mistaken. If I'm wrong, let me know in the comments. But they got found in the hull of the boat. Now, if I see you in the hull of the boat and you look like you're Chinese, I mean, straight away, I'm quarantining the whole area. Okay. If I got some type of spray or mist to get rid of at that moment, I'm thinking, okay, we have an environmental problem right here. Straight up, it is. If you're Chinese coming over here illegally, I don't know what's going on. I don't know where you came from in China. You could come from Tibet all the way to Beijing to Macau, Taiwan. I don't know where you came from. So I'm going to put you in quarantine right away just to make sure that everything's on the up and up. It is what it is. Oh yeah, also that's right, Mitch. The fake vape juice, the fraudulent THC cartridges that are causing the lung disease that everybody's getting sick from and dying almost instantly. That's a problem as well. Also, the counterfeit goods in general. Okay, you go on Amazon.com, you're trying to buy some equipment for your podcast, or you want to buy some clothes, some shoes. I was watching the news the other day, and I forget who it was. It's a guy that's in government right now, in the administration currently, and he was saying like 10% of the products you get from China are fake. 10%, like coming through boxes from Amazon and other places. Obviously, a place like Wish probably is full of Chinese knockoff goods. If you see a deal that's too good to be true, it probably is. I've seen warnings on websites like Rode, RODE, that makes microphones and stuff like that. They're saying that don't go to Amazon and buy any of their products because they don't do that. Like if you buy a microphone off of Amazon and it's not from a verified person, it could be a fake microphone. It may have a bunch of great reviews, but then once you read the reviews, the English ain't nowhere. Microphone good, 5-star, you know, that type of thing. Stay away from that. But it is what it is. So yeah. just make sure that you're safe and make sure everything's on the up and up. Define fake. I guess fake would be a thing that is not come from the retailer itself. If it's not an official product from the retailer, then it's fake. Because you can have things that are nearly the same looking. With clothing, it's not necessarily that big of a deal, in my humble opinion. Now, I'm not saying that buying counterfeit goods is a good thing, nor is it legal. It's very illegal to buy counterfeit products, but it's not that big of a problem if you buy, like, let's say, for example, a fake scarf or a fake wallet. I mean, it's not that hard to create a scarf or a wallet. But when you're talking about electronic devices, microphones, cameras, like expensive cell phones is also a big one that they counterfeit. You don't want to have a fake cell phone. You didn't spend $1,000 and you try to put your SIM card in there and it ain't nothing going on. You don't want that to happen to you. So you want to make sure you're getting goods that are actually from the manufacturer if you really care about, getting a real thing. Like, I wouldn't buy an iPhone off of Amazon. You see what I'm saying? Let me see. The Rapper 10,000 says people don't realize that the virus problem that China has over eating bats are exactly what happens in socialist countries. Yeah, I mean, now I can't say that the reason why they're eating bats is because they don't have any food, but food insecurity is a problem in China, 1,000%. And the way they try to solve it is by the fake food. I mean, everything in China, it might just be fake. I mean, hair care products, food, whatever you can think of, electronics, mostly fake, 100%. Is a virus fake? Now, I don't think it is. People are actually dying from it. Two people here got diagnosed with the virus. Yeah, Amazon is great, but sometimes you can get something fake from Amazon. You just gotta be careful. Most of the time, you go shop on Amazon, it's all good, but sometimes you might get duped. It happens. Let me see. Alrighty, but what else we got going on? Thank y'all for joining. I definitely appreciate you. Please like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff for me. I definitely appreciate you for that. But what we got happening? Let me see. Oh, Joe Rogan, my man Joe Rogan endorsing Bernie Sanders. I thought this was a good thing for the internet to see that Joe Rogan is a liberal. Joe Rogan is a liberal with, how can I say? He is a decent liberal. That's probably the best way to put it. A decent liberal. I never thought he was conservative because he said some things that kind of were like, oh, okay, that's a little bit of that's a red flag right there. When he got into the argument with Candace Owens over climate change, I'm like, okay, we're not talking about conservative here. Because all she was saying is that she has some questions. It's not really clear. I'm not just going to buy into it, that type of thing. He's like, well, you can't really do that. It's real. It's a consensus. I'm like, all right. So then he was on with Bari Weiss, I think that's her name, this political analyst lady. And then she's asking him about who he would vote for or the primary or whatever it is. And he says, hey, I probably vote Bernie in the primary. And then I would assume if he were to vote Bernie in the primary, he'd vote him in the general if he would win the nomination, which ain't gonna happen, but that's a different story. But anyway, he basically endorsed Bernie Sanders. Now, it's not necessarily a traditional endorsement, but what's the difference when you're talking about a guy like Joe Rogan with a big platform? Anyway, the media catches wind of this, and they're not too pleased at all. How could you talk to this man, Bernie Sanders? He's a transphobe. He's this phobe. He's that phobe. The Democrats, I mean, they're hurting themselves. If you get a person like Joe Rogan as an ally, he can really help you to gain some people that may not necessarily be on the right and may kind of be in the center. He may be able to gain those that are kind of in the center and don't really understand what Bernie's about. They may just say Joe Rogan introduced them to Bernie, and then they may go that direction because of a Joe Rogan. But now you've basically denounced him. You're trying to force Bernie Sanders to recuse his approval of the endorsement. I mean, you're really just what the cool kids would say, hustling backwards. You're not progressing forward. And if you want to succeed in the general election, you got to press forward. But hey, what do I know? I don't know anything. I'm just a guy on the internet talking. But I think I'm right. You can't just, be so excluding people and expect to go anywhere. You got to be able to talk to everybody, and you can't just be in one little small niche box. That might be cool for the blogs, for the TV shows, the Sunday shows on all the liberal news networks. Might be good for them. It may be good for a few crazy nut jobs on the left that will come out to your rallies and be front row and center, getting all the attention. It may be good for them, but it won't be good for you, Bernie Sanders, when it comes to the general election, because you can't win over those you got to win over. You're able to maintain your base and those that are really diehard fans, and maybe a few new fans, but you're not going to really be able to galvanize the entire country. I'm seeing Trump hats everywhere. Like, I'm seeing it more now as the impeachment process has happened and as we get closer to the nomination and to election day. Quite frankly, I'm seeing Asian guys. Like I said before, I'm in the Chinese food store. It's an Asian man sitting there reading the newspaper, has on that MAGA hat. I walk up to him and talk to him. 2 words of English at the most, but we had a bond based on the fact that we both Trump supporters. So I don't see the left doing anything like that. Who's the inspiring figure? Who's the figure that's going to bring everybody together? When you try to get somebody that could be considered right-wing, although they're not, and Joe Rogan on your side to help you bridge that gap, you denounce it. You just say, nah, I don't want that. So what are you trying to do? Are you trying to throw the election? If so, then thank you. I appreciate that. I'll take it because that makes it easier for us to win. But if you really want to win, then I suggest you do something different other than what you're doing. But it is what it is. I don't want Bernie, of course not. Not at all. Hey, really for us on the right, this is great. This is great because not only do you alienate a lot of people that may have come to your side, which may mean more voters for us, but you also are hurting this big time communist. And I'm totally against communism. Okay? Communism is like, look, if you want communism, look at China. Fake rice, fake cabbage, SARS, people eating bats and rats and cats and insects, all kind of stuff. Okay? And it's supposedly first world country. I can't tell. How are you going to be eating things on the ground just like you're a primitive person hunting and gathering? Like, come on, man. You got this big economy. What are you doing with it? You make all these iPhones and iPads and everything else, and you make all the products in the world basically, but you still can't even get a square meal of real food. It's ridiculous, but it is what it is. Alrighty. But thank you all for being here. I definitely appreciate you. You guys are a fantastic audience. And shout out to everybody that I met in Charlotte at the Brexit rally. That was a lot of fun. JB says, I'm in D.C. Asian people have the mask on. Yeah, they keep their mask on. They know what time it is, for sure. They don't want to have any part of that virus. BDB says, Rogan admitted schizophrenia problem with weed. He tries to be a good dude like AJ, has powerful people whispering in his ear. Yeah, like I said, he's a decent person. He's a decent liberal, but he's a liberal. He's not like one of these crazy leftist nut jobs like AOC and them. He's not anywhere near them. He's a decent person. And I can respect a decent liberal. I disagree with you all day long on your political points of view, but I can at least have a conversation and it be civil and cordial rather than screaming, hollering, cussing, and fussing. Like, remember Triggly-Puff? As long as you're not like that, then we're all good. We could be cooking with gas. I don't have no problem at all. Let me see. Do I have a political science degree? No, I don't. Anna Williams, you are not blocked. I can see your post. All I have is a degree. I have an associate's degree for applied science and graphic design I got in 2005 because I was a graphic designer. And the only reason why I have that degree is because I just wanted to learn how to do graphic design and make money doing that. And that's what I did for a long time, about 10 years or more. Self-employed. So college, we'll talk about college, that's a great segue into Pocahontas and the Iowa dad confronting her. Now, this was a great video. If you didn't see my take on it, check it out on the channel. But basically, Pocahontas is having a campaign rally, I suppose, in Iowa. and she's doing like a little meet and greet type thing, talking to the supporters or whatever, shaking hands, kissing babies, the whole 9 yards. And the dad walks up on her, and he's like, "Hey, your student loan forgiveness plan. What about people like myself that saved all my life and put my daughter through school? Do I get that cash back?" She's like, "Of course not." And he's like, "How was that fair? I get the short end of the stick. I get screwed because my next door neighbor, who makes more than I do, is able to keep all the money he didn't spend, and the loan that he took out or that his daughter took out, they're able to get that money back. So they don't spend any money. Meanwhile, I done spent all my money. How was it fair to me? You know, the money that I spent, that I put into the federal student loan pocket, whatever it is, that money is essentially going towards them to pay their loan off for free." And I think the objective is to get free K through 12, not K through 12, pardon me. You already got that, and that's not going very well, but to get free college. Now, first of all, if free K through 12 is not going well, why would free college go well? I don't understand. It makes any sense. And a lot of people are out here with college degrees that are useless. And the education is better than it would be up under the government's total control. So if people are graduating with useless degrees right now with better education, what's going to be the result when they get worse education on the government's program of trying to give you free X, Y, and Z? I just don't see how it makes any sense. I don't think that it does make any sense, quite frankly, but it is what it is. Thank you, Julian3. I appreciate you. Thank you. But yeah, I just don't understand how the whole thing makes any sense. And I appreciated him for confronting her because, if you are a person that's been elected, you're elected official, your job is representing the people. You got to hear your constituents cry. Basically, if you're trying to be the president, you got to hear all of our wishes and wants and whatnot. Now, some things may be kind of ridiculous and it may only be for a niche audience, but you still have to abide by the will of most of your people. That's just kind of how that goes. And he was right on point. It's not going to actually work out. They're talking about $640 billion to implement the plan. Now, I want to know, is that for the first year? Is that per year? Yang Gang talking about like $1 trillion per year for the UBI. I mean, the UBI's got to be the dumbest thing in the world. I mean, really, how is that going to help you at all? Especially in these low income areas, all you're going to do is just incentivize people to sell them, or to not to sell them like it's a food stamp, but you're going to incentivize people to do things that aren't good with the money, things that aren't smart with the money, or they'll just try to live on that money and not get a job. Like, there's not much thought put into these policies before they're thought of, in my humble opinion, before they're brought to the public. It's like, okay, I have an idea. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to just put some out there rather than taking the time to really think through it and say what you want to say and have it really make sense and all kind of congeal together. Yep, but it is what it is. Pocahontas. Yeah, she's a liar, a big time liar. Lied about this whole thing about her being Native American. Obviously not a Native American. It's really lying about this whole thing of free college. If she were to get into office, which she's not going to get into office, but if she were to get into office, she would not be able to accomplish that. It'd cost too much. It just wouldn't make a whole lot of sense at all. But spending on Jordans, yeah, pretty much. Jordans, weed, just stupid stuff that can't help you at all. And at the end of the day, people will be like, okay, where's the next check coming from? At the end of the first day of the month. I see it every day. You go first of the month. Like, I try to avoid grocery stores or anything like that on the first. Between the first and the third, I try to avoid. It's going to be jam-packed. It'd be like the club in there. Everybody has their cards. Everybody's ready to spend them. And they got enough food for a small army. And it might only be 2 kids. So they're not coming back until the very next month. So if the next month comes and there's no check there, they're going to be like, hey, where's the check at? I need a check right now. I'm living off of this at this particular point in time. You understand what I'm saying? And people do that. That's got to definitely come to an end. That's got to come to an end. Oh, yeah, Tulsi Gabbard is suing Hillary Clinton for defamation, if I'm not mistaken. Let me look it up right quick. All right, let's go ahead and pull it up. Okay, yeah, defamation lawsuit, like $50 million. I mean, and I guess the whole thing is that Hillary called her a Russian asset. That could be damaging. It most certainly could. But Hillary may be kind of smart here because she did not say Tulsi Gabbard's name, although it was strongly implied that's who that was, because she spoke about Amy Klobuchar first, and then she was talking about, somebody else and their particular policy. So Tulsi Gabbard just put two and two together, and you're like, oh, okay, you're talking about me. I see what's going on. Alrighty, that's what's up. That's good. So, yeah, I think that she may be able to get some traction there, but it might not really go the way she wants because Hillary did not say her name, so that might be an issue right there. She said old girl's name, Amy Klobuchar, but I don't think it was anything negative she said about her. But Tulsi Gabbard, it was something negative, so that's going to be an issue. But Tulsi has no chance of being able to win either. Now, some people said that she should run independent. It's like, for what? Her viewpoints are pretty much the equivalent to all the Democrats. And I don't, and the only thing is about her being anti-war, but I don't see any Democrats saying they're pro-war. I don't see that too much. I think that Trump was widely condemned by the left when he took troops out of northern Syria. But I could be wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. At the end of it, I just don't see her as Tulsi, that is, as a conservative or anything other than what we know her to be. And Hillary Clinton may have an out because she did not say Tulsi's name. Yeah. But people like Tulsi because of how she looks. That's really what it is. It ain't really nothing else to it. Oh, somebody said, why do we pay for X, Y, and Z country for foreign aid and we can't, get what we want here? Well, the money, even if we cut aid to certain nations, the money that we cut, we would have already had anyway. It's a matter of being able to appropriate it to the correct place so we're able to use it right. That's all. It ain't nothing else to it. Tulsi, I think, maybe left out of the debate. She was the same thing happened last time, if I'm not mistaken, or she may have gotten accepted but declined. I don't know what happened. I really don't know. It's weird how the left talk about diversity, but you look at the stage right now, it ain't too diverse. Pocahontas counts because she's native, but everyone else, you just white person, and then old white people at that. Bernie Sanders had a heart attack, 78 years old. Come on, man. Like, what are we even thinking about? Joe Biden, 77, losing his mind, mentally just not all the way sharp. What are we thinking about? I don't understand. Let me see. And Santa Pepper says, why would Russia want America to have a strong conservative leadership? That entire premise by the Democrats makes no sense. Yeah, that's a good point because the Democrats would be more lenient on Russia. It wouldn't be as many sanctions and stuff like that. The conservatives are going to be the opposite. And they might want to strike actually close to where Russia is at. Not that I think that they would, but that's a possibility more than it wouldn't be if it were the other way around. You're talking about the Warhawks and stuff like that. Alrighty, but thank y'all for joining. Definitely appreciate. Please like the video. That'd be great for me. If you like the video, 100%. And shout out to all the mods in here getting them trolls out of the chat pretty early. I thank you for that. Aiden Activation says, would you say it's good or bad that I'm political at 14? I think it's good because you're at the age where you're able to learn. And once you learn at an early age, you're able to get a leg up on being able to master it. What they say, it takes 10,000 hours to do with them before you become an expert. So you getting a heads up on your, I guess you would call it training or your intro into politics right now. So you have a good platform. Now, what I will say is that it can be kind of dangerous when that interest in politics is not checked, and it kind of just morphs into a thing where it's like, now I want to go out here and attack people. That's kind of like what Antifa's dealing with right now. I want to be in politics. I want to be this, that, and the third, but then I don't know, man. People just get radicalized. They go to these liberal colleges talking about fight to power, punch a Nazi, and then it kind of snowballs from there. I've seen some of these what you call it? I've seen some of these specials on TV where they do True Life. Remember those? True Life. I am hooked on crayons. True Life. I am I don't know, illegal alien, something stupid like that. Okay. There should be a True Life on, and a thought left me. There should be. It left me. It was right there, but it left me. I'm gonna find it now. Now it's gonna bother me for a while until I get it back. Now you didn't miss Ivan, miss a topic when we've not got to the calls yet. We got a little while for the call, so you've not missed Ivan. You've not missed any calls yet because you've not got to the calls yet. Let me see. I will not do that, Charlie Ride. I think you guys want to have a nice and clean show. If I put up Nancy Pelosi, that might kind of upset some people. So I want to be cognizant of all your triggers for sure. I don't want to do anything that'll damage your mental, stability. True Life, I eat chalk, hilarious. I felt it leaving. Like I had a thought in my mind about True Life, and it just left me. Oh yeah, True Life, Trump derangement syndrome. Yes, True Life. A leftist. True Life. I'm Antifa. How about that? That's what I want to see. And I want to see like a real Antifa, not like when people, yeah. I eat couch cushions. That was on that show. Crazy. Let me see. Dennis Edelman says, Alderman, pardon me, says AOC was mentioned by the governor of Puerto Rico and that she had knowledge of the supplies being hidden, but said nothing so she could tear Trump down. Wow. I wouldn't doubt it. I would not doubt it. Yeah, I saw that. The whole thing about Puerto Rico, they had supplies in random warehouses just kind of hidden, just kind of tucked away in little corners, and they're discovering them now still. And that's been quite a while since the earthquake that devastated the country. Or what was that, the earthquake? Or it might have been like it was a hurricane. Pardon me, it was a hurricane. The earthquake was Haiti. But it's been a while since the hurricane devastated the country. And then it was like, oh, it's a slow response. Trump hates Puerto Ricans. He's shooting basketball with the supplies, is that, and the third. Meanwhile, all kinds of supplies have been found all over the island. Pallets and pallets and pallets and warehouses. And I think it was one where they had an entire airport strip. It was this big blue tarp. You could see it from high up in the sky. It was nothing but water and other supplies that was just sitting there, waiting on somebody to come take it and use it. But people act like, oh, Trump didn't do anything. He wasn't trying to. I mean, the supplies are right there. And then people said that Trump was racist when he mentioned the governance of Puerto Rico not being very good. He was right. Didn't they just get arrested, a bunch of them from the Puerto Rican government? And obviously, the governance is not really good because they couldn't get a bottle of water from point A to point B, or at least alert people that the stuff was there. Don't just say, oh, well, it's not there. You didn't care about it. You didn't bring it. It's right there. So what's really going on? I said a lot of the food was ruined, but I'm sure that some of the food had to have been, canned, non-perishable, things that could survive a situation like what happened in Puerto Rico. I'm sure it had to be. I'm sure some of it was ruined, of course, but some of it, and then my thing is, okay, even if it were ruined, then why was it not known about that the stuff was there? That's my whole thing. At least tell us, what's going on, like, where is the stuff at? Tell us, okay, the supplies came to X place, but the supplies got ruined. So we know that there's some effort going on rather than just not saying anything at all. Okay, Megan, you went to high school in Puerto Rico? Okay, Megan. Now, how was the island at that particular point? Like, how was the governance from what you were able to see? Like, as far as just things that we have over here, like city, county services, compared to, how was it over there as far as that is concerned compared to over here? That's probably the question I wanted to ask you. He can destroy it. Yeah, I would imagine so. The mayor is a female. I'm not quite sure how long she's been there. Fran says it was supposedly the water, but water does not expire. Exactly. Yeah, the water's not going to go bad if it's just. I mean, and the thing is, I remember back then when they could not get the supplies. I think the excuse was, well, it's a logistics issue. We can't. It's an island. We just had a hurricane, so it's hard to get some things from point A to point B. But it's like, come on, like I said, tell us that it's there. How about that? Wouldn't that make sense? But maybe I'm just not using my brain. I don't really know what's going on. Shout out to Justin Miller, who says, who would you choose to be stranded on a desert island with, Bernie or Biden? You must choose one. Wow, that's a very good one. Bernie Sanders all day long. That's an easy choice because with Bernie, he might just try to steal my wallet. But on a desert island, it'll make a difference because what you going to buy with the wallet? What ATM machine you going to go to get some cash out? If you're going to go to the corner store or Amazon, you can't use my wallet at all. But Joe Biden, I don't want to be asleep in the middle of the night. I wake up, it's an old man's nose in the center of my head. I just don't want that to happen. If you touch me on my head, now we got to fight. I'm not trying to beat up an old man. So yeah, I don't like being touched by. If I don't like, if I'm just sleep and all of a sudden it's a dude right here, that's a problem. Okay, you want to shake hands, hug, okay, cool, that's fine. That's normal. But nose in my head, on my scalp, I don't have any hair. So nose on my scalp, I'll pass on that. So give me Bernie Sanders all day long. He'll just try to take your wallet. He won't try to take your anything else. But I'll leave it right there. Dart says, do I think China is lying about the number infected? Oh yeah, 100%. And beyond that, I think they don't even really know. That's the thing because it's kind of spreading quickly. Although I'm not really sure what quick would be, but in my opinion, it's spreading pretty quick. Just from what I'm seeing, it's spreading quick. So how would you even know who has it and the actual number or the real estimate? Because some people may not even want to go to the hospital. They may just stay in their home. I mean, you never know. So yeah, you never know what's going on. Just like some of these zombie movies. I mean, I'm talking about Resident Evil and World War Z, but that's kind of like art imitates life and vice versa. But I digress. The point is that you'll see in some of these movies, they'll go into a corridor in a long abandoned building. They open the door, it's somebody in there right in front of their TV that's zombified. You understand what I'm saying? They're not going to be counted in the main number of those that are sick. So it's kind of hard to tell. They can give an estimate, and that might be accurate, but they probably won't tell you the full extent of it. And if they're not lying about the number that are infected, they may be lying about the severity of it. I'm seeing videos that are kind of unconfirmed of people just on the street laying down, just laid out. I'm talking about not even just coughing or nothing, just laid out dead. It's a rapid illness because think about it like this. The illness was only discovered, or it was only reported to the World Health Organization at the end of December in 2019, December 31st, 2019. Now we're at January 25th. You got 41 dead. So that means from right around that time up until now, you have 41 deaths. So it's a very sudden type of thing. It's not like a gradual, it's real sudden. You might just fall out wherever you are. So who knows how many are affected? Yep, I saw that it was at least 2 cases in America. One was in Seattle at the airport. Another was in Texas, if I'm not mistaken. Or matter of fact, I think it was Seattle, Chicago, maybe Texas. But there could be more. The traveling is happening right now. People are leaving China because of Chinese New Year, or they're coming to China because of Chinese New Year. And then if they're coming to China, they want to go back. So it's a big problem, actually. Let me see. Fair Haviner says, please, my best friend died and I lost my cousin and others due to Afghan heroin. How do we stop the Afghan heroin? Well, sorry for your loss. That's really unfortunate. I saw my uncle died a long time ago when I was a little boy from heroin. Now, my question to you would be, how do you know that it was Afghan heroin? How do you know where the heroin came from? It can come from anywhere. Heroin in general is a problem. I think the one thing that we do is, get a tighter grip on the border, not just the southern border, but also the territorial water borders on the east and west coast, the Gulf of Mexico, and also the northern. If we need to get the northern border is a little bit easier to manage because Canada, you can't get there. Canada has no other bordering country, so in order to get to Canada, you got to fly there, or you got to come through the United States. So you see what I'm saying? It's more difficult for you to sneak into America from Canada because you got to fly there directly. You can do it, but it's less likely than just walking across from Mexico. You understand what I'm saying? But back to the whole thing about heroin. How you know it's Afghan heroin? A lot of it comes from China. A lot of fentanyl. Like, it's to the point now where you're able to purchase fentanyl online, like it's just an Amazon order. Not on Amazon, obviously, but some of these, like, CD websites, you're able to just purchase the drugs, and they come straight to you, like in the regular nondescript brown box. And, you got people you got the police catching on to that, obviously, but that's a issue. Mexico's also a big time heroin, distributor. La MA and MS-13, all of them, they doing it. And the sanctuary cities, that's a problem as well. One thing about sanctuary cities is that it's not just a sanctuary for illegal aliens to continue to be there illegally. It's also a drug sanctuary, a human trafficking sanctuary. Because like I said in the previous video, maybe even the previous live video, what happens is you have these gangs that come from other countries that are here illegally that the people in charge, the politicians, don't want to deport because they want to keep up this whole thing of sanctuary city. We won't deport you, this, that, and the third. Okay, so the gangbangers take advantage of it, and what they do is they just commit crimes. Murder, robbery, rape, assault, drug running, you name it. They're less likely to be prosecuted, let alone deported, because the image of a sanctuary city being this utopia must be upheld. They don't want a headline in the paper to read, illegal alien deported after selling heroin in San Francisco. They don't want that kind of thing to go on, so they allow it to persist. Is it evil? Yes. Is it damaging to human beings? Yes, but that's what you vote for when you get these leftist people in power. You vote for people that are just allowed to do whatever they want to do for the name of being a sanctuary and presenting yourself as that. Oh, we don't want to deport anybody that could be selling heroin and fentanyl illegally, like from China, but that's okay. We just gonna let them stay here. That's kind of what's going on. Yeah, poppy come like the heroin is from everywhere. And also, one thing about fentanyl is that that's a legal drug, not illegal. It's a legal legal drug. The problem is that it's very addictive. Obviously, it's a opiate and it's sold illegally. And sometimes you get fake fentanyl that comes from China and or real fentanyl that comes from somewhere else in China as well. But okay, you say it's from Afghanistan. How do you know where it comes from? It can come from anywhere. Afghanistan is not the only place you can grow heroin in the world. That's an old school myth. You can only grow poppy in Afghanistan. That's not true. You can grow it a lot of different places in the world. China being one of them. And China may get the Afghan heroin and send it to you through your online order. So like I said, you got to tighten up the maritime borders, tighten up the air traffic, the packages that come from overseas, and the southern border. Tighten up what comes into the country. Get a crackdown on that, and get a crackdown on these gangbangers that are allowed to just gangbang with impunity. Alrighty. Hey, Live PD is a great show. I watch that every now and again. And I like anything dealing with first responders. I like watching the firefighters. My dad was a firefighter. I was going to be a firefighter, so I watched the firefighters for a long time do their thing. So I really like those shows for sure. Hey, congrats on that, Mitch Connor. You being clean for 6 years on heroin, man. Hey, congrats, man. Keep on rocking, man, for sure. Keep on rocking. You know, hey, my uncle died, man. I think about him all the time. I was like a little boy. I was like 6. And it was crazy. They told me he died. I was like, what happened? I didn't understand at the time. And I would always hear stories about him. And that kind of just kept me away from drugs. I ain't want to end up passing away, man. So I'm glad you were able to get off that. And I'm glad you're here with us, man, for sure. All right. Zedog's Cane Sword says, ABL, did you hear about the Seattle shooting Wednesday? 1 dead, 7 injured, 2 shooters still on the loose. The Democratic facade is peeling back for real. I did not hear about that at all. And that's crazy because, you know, I got my ear to the internet streets and the news streets everywhere. I may have seen it, but it may not have jumped out at me as being, you know, newsworthy. But are the shooters what are they? Could it be illegal? What's going on? One thing I want to say is that Chicago, LA, Seattle, etc., they have these extreme cases of shootings all the time. People talk about mass shootings, all this, that, and the third, but you go to Chicago, there's always a mass shooting every weekend, every day almost. It's a mass shooting. There's constant mass shootings in a place like Chicago, which is heavily gun controlled. But the Virginia gun rally, you had at minimum 20,000 armed people, but probably as many as almost 70,000 armed people in one place, and not one episode of violence at all. Nobody got beat up, nobody got shot, nobody got tased, nothing. Everybody was respectful. Yes, sir. No, sir. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. Picking up trash, all of that. Go to an Antifa rally with a fraction of those that were in attendance at the gun rally. You're going to have fights, people getting stabbed. Somebody got shot at an Antifa rally. You know, that didn't really get covered, but it was not at the rally per se. It was like close to the rally. Somebody ran up on somebody and got that work. And it might have been in Seattle, Freeattle as they call it. Okay. So, I mean, where are you going to be the most safe and where are you going to be the most in danger? And these Antifa people, they don't really believe in having your gun and all that kind of stuff like that. They're totally in favor of what the left is in favor of for the most part. They're the more extreme version of the left. All right. But you're going to be in a lot of problems. Same thing with Black Lives Matter, all these groups, all these leftist groups, and they're always violent. But, you know, a bunch of patriotic Americans, a lot of Trump supporters, people that just want to have the best thing for the country and to protect the Second Amendment rights, 70,000 of them almost with arms, not one incident, and a clean city left behind. Antifa rally, violence, mayhem, melee, destruction, and they leave the city totally trashed, totally 100% trashed, and don't even care. And if it's Black Lives Matter, they burn up the city behind them. So not only do they trash it and get in fights, they also burn it. So they destroy the city physically. It's crazy. It is what it is. Yeah, I did see YG get arrested for robbery, but it's like not a lot of information about that. I saw you got arrested, but my question would be, is it for a recent thing? Is it for an old thing? One thing about YG is that he is an admitted former home invader. It's a song about it and everything. Meet the Flockers. It's a song and a video telling you how to actually home invade. Okay. So, let me get some water. So, YG is a guy that could have like outstanding warrants from his past. Or he could be doing some things right now. It could have been, a fan meeting gone wrong, somebody getting beat up and their chain snatched, or it could have been somebody in his entourage did something. I don't really know what's going on, but I love to hear the details. Now, if you guys don't know who YG is, this is the rapper that brought the young man on stage and told him to say F Trump, and he refused to do so, and then he kicked the young man out. And the crazy part about that is that the young man was not even there for YG. He was there for a music festival. YG happened to perform there, but he was not there for YG. Never even heard of YG before. He just happened to be in the crowd, and he got picked out by YG and was kicked out of the event that he came to with his friends, and they were different races. He was not just with, white guys. It wouldn't have mattered, but my whole point is that he was painted by YG and others that appreciated what YG did as some kind of racist white Trump supporter. That's not even really the case. You know, he just was just a guy going to a concert that was not even really featuring YG. And thank you, L. Davidson. I appreciate you for that. You brought your black 1776 at. Alrighty, like with the jank right there. I thank you for that. I definitely appreciate you. 100%. Let me see. But what else we got? Did I cover everything that I wanted to cover? Al with that, yeah, that was probably my favorite one there. Joe Rogan and the Chinese Contagion cover all that good stuff. Well, that's not necessarily a good thing, but it is what it is. Yeah, LA is a weird place. People love and hate LA. You know, it can be a beautiful place, a lot of opportunity there, a lot of things are happening, but it's just if you live out there, it's a weird type of dynamic that happens. You got these rappers constantly getting robbed out there. Not robbed physically, like they're getting a gun pulled on them, but they're getting burglarized. Like I'm not sure how you burglarize a state. Like you got gates and cameras. How do you have that burglarized? They get conned a lot of times out there by people that live out there. You know, you have actors in Hollywood that you see on TV. They're also actors in the street that try to play you for whatever you got. There's a lot of that type of stuff going on too. So who knows what's going on? Let me see. Am I into rap? No, not really. I listen to some rap, but I'm not into it, the culture like that. Especially not someone that stuff that's out now. Like these young, you know, the kids nowadays they just promote drug use. It's like, come on, man. Like, what are we doing? I'm just not really into it, really. Divine Dreamers that people in the hood are so brainwashed out here in LA. I can imagine. I can definitely imagine. 100%. Yeah, I mean, I probably would go visit California, but I couldn't live there. I'm from over here, in the country type of area. Like I grew up in the city country area. If that makes any sense. So I don't. LA to me, I will be able to detect the fakeness in the air. If that makes any sense. Let me see. LA hoods is like a cult when it comes to hating Trump. Now you know the funny part about the Trump haters is that a lot of times they wind up promoting Trump. I saw this guy, Big Gip from Goody Mob. He had on a hat. It was a red hat. Number one. Number two, it had Trump on it, like TURMP had the words Trump on it, but it had a graphic of a middle finger. Like it had a middle finger graphic. I won't throw it here, obviously, but the graphic was middle finger, and then Trump was like on the hand, below the knuckles and whatnot. So it was like you have on the Trump hat, it's middle finger on it, but it still says Trump. So you're giving them publicity. So it's bad press, but it's still good press because it's press. Period. If you're getting press, it's good press, regardless whether it's positive or negative. People don't even understand what they're doing. All the hate towards him is actually promoting him to somebody that does not know who he is. Or they might want to say, let me just look into him and see what's going on. Why is he so bad? Why this? Why that? And you start to become curious. And before you know it, you got a red pill that's already been distributed. So people are kind of dumb, but it is what it is. It's fine. Nick G says, would I ever come to NYC to talk? I'd love to. If anybody wants to bring me out, my email's on my website. I love to come out there and talk to whoever wants to have me. I'm not really worried about, being in danger. Yeah. Now, Lizzo, I saw that post on Lizzo, and that was nasty. She was like simulating what she would do as far as a sex act to somebody. Like she didn't actually show the sex act, but it looked like she was getting ready to do it. This is on TikTok, and TikTok is where a lot of kids are at. So Lizzo, you got kids that follow you. I'm sure they're following you on TikTok because a lot of kids are on TikTok and they follow Lizzo anyway because she has that kind of young music. So that was just disgusting. I mean, where have we come in entertainment where you got to be a pig, literally a pig in more ways than one to get attention. It's crazy. I want to see her just go away. Just stop doing music or do like Miley Cyrus and just have a brand makeover. At one point, Miley Cyrus was like that too. Lady Gaga as well, just, coming out in gross outfits, kind of doing nasty things. Then they were able to kind of have a brand rehaul and come out looking more glamorous. If you don't do that right now, Lizzo, matter of fact, how about this? I might have like a petition or something to say, just tighten up or get out. That's all. Tighten up or get out, because I don't want to see nothing like that. Matter of fact, if I'm on TikTok, I will report that for pornography, straight up. I'm getting your account banned if I'm on TikTok and I see that. I'm reporting it for spam instantly, right away. Alrighty. But thank y'all for being here. I definitely appreciate you. Oh yeah, I saw that upper 10,000 Yang Gang in the black church. It's like, come on, Yang Gang, like, what are we doing? Why you gotta be in the church? Like, you could be in the church and that's fine, but why you gotta be having your choir robe on and doing a little two-step bop in the choir? Like, for why? Just come to the church and enjoy the service like everybody else. You don't gotta be like participating in the choir. It's weird. Alrighty. But shout out to you guys in the chat. Let's go get to the calls. You guys know the drill. The number to call is 434-658-1220. Do not be afraid to call. Alrighty. Let me get to my Skype. Let's see if it wants to work for me today. Alrighty. Let's see. I'm just reading the chat here. And Skype was just doing this thing, trying to load up. Yeah, that's kind of what it was. It kind of was like mocking church with Andrew Yang. It was just weird. All right, the number to call is 434-658-1220. Do not be afraid to call. The black MAGA hat? Like, what do you mean as far as black MAGA? 865, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
ABL, my man. This is Aaron up here in Sevierville.
All righty, man. What's going on?
My brother from another mother. I got to just ask all y'all conservatives out there, anybody with any sense, stop promoting and idolizing Tulsi. She's a baby-killing, gun-grabbing, socialist, communist, crazy, just like Bernie and Elizabeth. Just drop it. Let it go. She's a nutbag.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I'm not really sure what the infatuation is. I mean, she looks better than the average politician, but that's about it. Because all of her policies.
That's all it is.
Yeah, all of her policies are the exact same as everybody else's.
She's a 6.1 and everybody's kissing her feet. Let it go, y'all. She's a psycho. Forget it.
That's right. I'm with you 100% on that one.
I want to let y'all know Joe Rogan has been a leftist nutbag for years. Even if y'all ain't noticed yet, I've been listening to him for a long time. He's on whoever's side is on the show. But when it comes right down to it, he's a leftist.
Yeah, I saw that too. People just, they thought that he might be conservative because he had people like, he had Jordan Peterson on and Ben Shapiro, people like that. But it's like, no. I mean, Ben Shapiro may go on CNN. That does not make CNN conservative. That's just not how that works.
Exactly. Your guests don't define who you are. It just means you're willing to have somebody on. I give him props for having people on he may not agree with. Yeah, that's all fine and dandy. But don't be fooled. He's a Hollywood leftist, a wolf in sheep's clothing. Don't fall for it.
That's right.
This Chinese coronavirus, it's nuts, ABL. I want y'all listeners, everybody out there, listen, check it out, research.
Yeah, it's
The
it's really
lab,
crazy. Go ahead.
the lab that was researching this, checking it out, is 8 miles from the first outbreak.
Mm.
Imagine that.
Yeah, I mean, I was hearing about that, and my thing is, okay, can that be a coincidence, or is there more to the story? Like, was it an accident? Did they accidentally let it out? Was it on purpose? Is it a trial run? What's really going on?
ABL seems like a trial run to me. I just think it's a test.
Mm.
How does everybody react? How does this work? What does the next one do? It just seems a little suspicious to me, brother.
Yeah.
And the Iowa dad versus Pocahontas. Pocahontas. I don't know what this is about. I hadn't seen this yet.
Oh yeah. Well, the Iowa, it was at an event in Iowa, and Pocahontas was taking questions and whatnot after the event. And then the dad comes up to her and is confronting her about her student loan forgiveness plan. And he's like, hey, okay, I saved money all my life. I put my daughter through school and she's about done. Do I get that money back? And she's like, of course not. And he's like, well, look, okay, my neighbor did not save money. He makes more than I do. So he gets to have his money back. But I don't. How was that fair? And she was kind of like brushing him off, not really trying to hear him. But he had a very good point.
Oh, imagine that. A Democrat being hypocritical. Who would have thunk it, ABL? Who would have thunk that would have happened?
That's right.
I love you, ABL. Keep doing what you're doing. I love you. I know everybody in the chat loves you. That's why we're here, man. Keep it up. I'm out.
All right, man. Thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you. All right, great call. Shout out to the caller. Most certainly appreciate him. You guys on the drill. The number to call is 434-658-1220. If you want to get in through Skype, there's an email for that in the description box below. You can be right here in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen. All right. Yeah, Chinese food, you got to stay away from Chinese food, too. That's going to be kind of hard. That Chinese food, I don't know. Can I go to Panda Express? Is that count for Chinese food? Thank you, Paul, from South Africa. I appreciate you. Shout out to you calling, watching all the way from over there. Thank you to Will Redding, who says socialized medicine failed China. We don't need that kung flu here. Exactly, 100%. They're trying to build a hospital right now, and they want to have it built by February 6th. Like a 1,500 bed hospital by February 6th. Now, is that going to be a safe place to serve, to have patients? Is it going to be 100% perfect as far as its construction is concerned? The facilities, the sanitary, the conditions of it, is it going to be where you want to be at when you got something like that? I don't know. 613 on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hi, this is Miles Descharme.
Alrighty, what's going on?
How you doing today, brother?
Everything's great. Can't complain.
Yeah, you're one of my favorites, ABL.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I'm just tuned in. I just turned your volume off, so we're not doing that little reverb going on.
Yeah.
But I'm calling all the way from Canada.
Alrighty, well, welcome.
Thanks, man. I'm just wondering. We've been talking about this the Wuhan coronavirus, and it seems to be like something that affects. You know, when you get to a certain size of city, you affect really big cities like that.
What do you mean? Like, as far as it only affects big cities? I'm not sure what you're saying.
Well, it gets to a certain point. Like we have cities. Like I live in a small city in Canada. It's like 1 million people, and then when you go from like 1 million people to like 2.5 million people. So I live in Ottawa. There's 1 million people. It's a fairly peaceful city, and then you get up to something like 2.5 million people. You start to get stuff like gun crime, and when you hit cities like 17 and 20 million people, you get rid of certain societal problems, but it starts to be stuff like everybody's, they're always wearing their masks and stuff like that to keep from getting sick. But it seems like as soon as you start to go up in cities, there's different problems for different cities. And so my wife's British, and in London, you start to get to a certain city size, and then they start to, you ban guns because there's so many people. and then you start to have stuff like knife crime and stuff like that. When you get to like really, really big cities and you start to deal with stuff like people don't have weapons, and you start to deal with all that kind of stuff, it gets to a point where it's almost like you have so many people in a city, there's certain problems that are going to happen.
I see what you mean. And then
you see kind of what I mean? Like you get to a certain point where it's like we've dealt with stuff like, say, knife crime and gun crime, and not really dealt with it. You've taken weapons away from people and all that stuff. But it seems like once you get to that size of a city, you're dealing with different problems, and it seems like at this point it becomes a containment problem. And so is that like a size of the city problem? Is that, well, and what do you think about that? Is that a size of the city problem? Is that something that's maybe going to happen over in the United States? Or is it something that is just possibly a one-off?
Well, it could be the size of the city and a lot of other factors. I mean, you're talking about China. That's a kind of a unique case. The city is different. The governance is different. It's a lot of different things that they have going on. First of all, it's not much environmental protection. You can pretty much do whatever you want. I'm not a tree hugger, but at a certain point, you probably shouldn't dump just straight raw sewage in the drinking water. Maybe you shouldn't do that. Maybe you shouldn't be getting your food from assuming dirty water. It's a lot of things they do over there that would never happen over here. Just even if you have like a pretty conservative governance in place for a long time over here, we wouldn't do something. We wouldn't do what to do over there. And then also the communist state, at a certain point, food becomes a problem. And if you have a very high density, if you got a lot of people in one area, a lot of density of people in one area, that can be a problem. If one person gets sick, even with a cold, it could spread pretty quickly because it's so many people in one compact space. It's no room to really breathe. Like you said, people are wearing the mask because they're in. It's too
and
many
now it's
people.
being transferred by eyes. So it's almost mutated around that, if you will.
Is it transferring by eyes?
Yeah, and that's kind of something I read. I read that on the Drudge Report, and it's kind of like it's being transferred, so it's kind of moved around the mask, right? It's like that Jurassic Park trope that if you try to stop it, nature will find a way. And so it's like we as humans, we try to find a solution, and then whatever it is, nature finds a way around that solution.
I mean, the masks aren't totally effective anyway, so it's like, all you can really do is just try to block some of it. But at a certain point, if you have an airborne pathogen, that's gonna be kind of hard to prevent you from being able to get it.
Yeah, and it's a bit different than like a couple of years ago. There was the whole Ebola thing in Africa as well, and that was obviously different than the airborne pathogen. That was, I think, through food, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. But the only thing I ask is. So it makes me wonder what the difference is between somewhere like Africa or China or even America. Like, why is it that we deal with it better? Is it a first world versus a third world thing? Or is it just that people are more aware of it? Like in Africa, a lot of the problem with Ebola is that there's no concrete borders, so people are more mobile. Whereas in China, people are able to be stopped because of, the government control and all this stuff.
Well, some of it's a lot of different things. The environment. Africa, you're talking about like sub-Saharan Nigeria. That's basically like the equator almost. So different kind of environment, tropical. If you have any kind of water, rain or anything, you got a lot of crazy mosquitoes. And the mosquitoes, that's really what carries it. It's kind of like living in the Caribbean islands. You got to have the mosquito nets. You can't really spray them all because you're right there in a particular part of the world. If you're in a colder environment, you're not really going to have the tropical kind of problems. So the environment is a big part of the reason. First world issues as far as, first world, I guess you would call it conveniences or privileges, being able to have access to great healthcare. Third world country, you're not going to have good healthcare. China, I mean, socialized medicine, we know how that really works out. Communist country. So the environment and the governance, a lot of that got a lot to do with it.
Fair enough. Cool. Yeah, I just wanted to get your take on that. I really enjoy your show. I like all the stuff you do. You're one of my favorite guys, and I'm really glad to be able to call in. I called in a couple times and couldn't get through, and I was like, I'm just trying to keep calling in until I get there. Yeah, I love your stuff down there. I love what you guys are doing with the government. I'm a big Trump fan. Unfortunately, we have Trudeau up here, but it is what it is, and I, as a Canadian, believe in when you vote someone in, let them do their thing, which is something that's, I guess you guys are struggling with down there. But we got 4 more years of Trudeau, unfortunately.
Yeah, man, it's unfortunate, man. But hopefully you guys are able to get red put a little bit and get him out of there. Get somebody
well,
new.
You know what? It's a minority government, so they could pull a snap election at any point. But to be honest, we don't have a good conservative leader, and we haven't had in a little bit. Right. And I think that was the problem with, through the Obama years, is there wasn't a good leader until someone like Trump. And so it's really nice to have guys like yourself, and I'm a big Jericho Green fan, and Tim Pool. And so it's nice to have people, voicing their support online. And I'm glad you guys still get the opportunity to do that. Thanks a lot for taking my call and taking the time for someone from Canada. I appreciate that.
All right. Thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you.
Yeah. Cheers, brother. Have a good night.
Same to you.
Bye.
All right. Shout out to the caller. Most certainly appreciate him. And the number to call is 434-658-1220. Let's get to the next call. 510, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hello?
Yes, who am I speaking to?
Yeah, I was looking for ABL.
You're right here talking to him. What's going on?
I just wanted to appreciate you and let you know I appreciate the show.
Oh, thank you, man. Hey, do me a favor. Turn your speakers down in the background for me.
Yeah, I'm about to do that right now. You can hear me now?
I hear you well.
How you doing, man? I just wanted to let you know I appreciate the show and all the good vibe information you be throwing me,
Oh, thank you, man. I appreciate that.
I'm just a regular guy, working 9 to 5 or whatever. But I'll be thinking like, man, what you said kind of makes sense. It really does. When you stop and think about what people are saying, it don't add up. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely. Because that's kind of how I was. Like, that was my realization back when I was starting to become conservative. Because I was listening to people that were conservative and how they were talking, and it's like everything makes sense. Like when I first started getting into conservatism, I listened to Rush Limbaugh, but I was always told don't do it because he was saying, "Oh, Rush is racist. He hates black people, this, that, and the third." But then when I heard him talk, I was like, "What he's saying makes sense." So I feel where you're coming from, 100%.
And see, like I'm not the average black dude because I grew up with a mother and father in the house. You feel me? And it was so funny because my mom would always go to work and my dad would take me off on these adventures and here and there. And he would always play the talk radio. He was playing Rush Limbaugh and all this other political talk when I was a little kid. I didn't really understand it until I got older. And then I started looking at the politics and I started looking at my check stub. And I'm like, wait a minute. This shit don't add up. You're not going. That's what I wanted to ask you because this is my question. Like AOC gonna kick Amazon out of New York and then turn around and complain about her tax money when Amazon was gonna pay the tax. Am I wrong?
Well, Amazon was gonna bring a lot of money in, a lot of tax revenue, a lot of everything, jobs, tax revenue, the whole thing. So if you're complaining about money,
you want to start a protest, kick them out. And then want to complain about you ain't got no money.
Yeah, it don't make no sense.
That's bad business to me.
Right.
Just being a businessman, that's just bad business. That's why, like, I'm not saying I'm a Trump supporter. Well, I am, but I really don't vote in politics. But I respect the business aspect of what he's saying.
Yeah, of course. Absolutely.
And I've never seen, and like on the news, they say he's this, he say he's that, but I've never seen him do anything wrong. I just wanted to holler at you, man. I didn't think this shit was real. My bad.
Oh, it's all good. But yeah, man, I'm glad you're able to call because people, you're not by yourself, man. A lot of people, they starting to just see what's going on. They understanding what's happening. And it's just about common sense. I don't really try to get too deep. I just try to just make it make sense because that's how I like to get information, man. So I'm glad you're able to get it.
Yeah, that's why I just had to call you and let you know I'm trying to support you. I ain't got no couple dollars to give you, but I just support your commentary and everything.
Oh, it's all good, man. Thank you for the call. I definitely appreciate you.
All right, keep up the good work.
All right, man. Appreciate you. All right, shout out to the caller. Good call. Yeah, I try to break things down in a real common sense kind of way so everybody's able to understand it. That's just how I understand information too. Sometimes when you watch the news, they talk real lofty, use these, 18-letter words for no reason. Michael Eric Dyson is good at that. He's basically a rapper. It's like you pick up a thesaurus and just thumb through it to pick up the words that are just totally like obsolete words, obscure, references, and you try to just string together things like that. I don't talk like that. But thank you to everybody that's called in so far. The number to call is 434-658-1220. Do not be afraid to call. Do I have super chats? I think I do. Let me go ahead and read them right quick, and then we get back to the calls. Let's see here. Shout out to Super Rude Dog, who says, people, it's 2020. Get ready for a crazy election. 2016 was nothing. Stay wise, stay strong, be free. Thank you for your donation. That's very, very wise words, because this election will be crazy. Excuse me. They're trying to get Trump out of office right now through the impeachment. It's not going to work. They tried before through the Russia thing. It didn't work then. They tried to be cheating really in 2016 by contacting other countries and trying to do some things with the Russia thing, the Ukraine thing, the P dossier. It didn't work. So what are they going to do right now in 2020 when all of these options have been exhausted and unsuccessful? We'll see. Shout out to Will Redding, who said, socialized medicine failed China, and we don't need that kung flu here. Exactly, 1,000%. Thank you for your donation. I definitely appreciate you. And I think that's everybody I got. I got everybody else. I read them already. Let me get to the next call. 240, you're on the line. I'm speaking to.
So what are they going to do right now in 2020?
Hey, it's JB. What's up, brother?
Everything's good, man. What's going on?
Nothing much, another day, another dollar.
No doubt.
Hey, what's up? Hey, did you hear about that Mississippi lawmaker who said she hopes Trump get assassinated, and everybody telling her to step down? Well, the black community, our community is saying, why she had to step down? I said because she just said she hopes the president is assassinated, a.k.a. her boss. You're a moron. You need to step down. Like the lady lost her job when she called Michelle Obama a monkey. Guess what? Same scenario. In fact, it's even worse than when the girl calling somebody a monkey. She called her 8. That's offensive, but it ain't like, you know what I'm saying? This like call for somebody to get assassinated.
Right. That's
you
crazy.
Heard about that?
I did not hear about that. No.
Yeah, look it up. ABL was highly mad. She's in Mississippi too. My thing is like this. This is the epitome of double standards. And everybody gets mad when I say something. That's what the guy got so many curse outs when I looked up on Facebook. And then I looked up again, it's true story. The Washington Post posted, and everybody walking around saying, yeah, you shouldn't be fired. Yes, you should. You can't go around calling for the assassination of a president because you don't believe his political views. That does not get that does not mean he deserves death. That means he just don't like what he says.
Right, exactly.
Am I right, ABL?
Yeah, you should just be able to disagree with somebody and have that be that, rather than saying, oh, you want to hurt him or do something else to him. That's not. And then, especially if you're in government, you're an elected official. That's not how you're supposed to operate.
Yes. And then somebody said, why do you want to lose jobs? Because when they said that was Obama, what would you say then? He needed to be fired. Obama's the same person. No, he's not. You can't pick and choose when to be hateful. You just can't.
Mm-mm.
You just can't. That's not how life works. Either you do it for everybody or no. It's like the N-word. I told everybody, if you don't want white people using it, you can't use black people using it. So let's cut it off all the way in the block.
That's right. Real simple. Just call it like that. Don't try to be, picking and choosing. Nah. If you say that this is a word that's offensive, and if you say it, I'm gonna have PTSD, all that and the third. Okay, let's have that be that, and not use it.
Exactly. Oh, well, guess what else I heard was Lamar. They investigating her tax fraud or everything. Oh, she's about to go to jail. She can't run from this one. She can't run from it.
Yeah, because it's a lot going on with that. It's a lot going on with that. So she might end up in the clink for sure.
And then also she filed the same taxes for 2 different people.
Oh,
What?
really?
Yes, you heard about that? Like she filed for her first husband and her second husband at the same time. Like same tax reform, something like that to that effect. I don't remember exactly what it was, but something to that effect. And then they're also talking about this. What's her name? The lady for education lady.
DeVos.
Trump hired. What's her name?
Bessie DeVos.
Yeah, Bessie DeVos. They're trying to say the voucher program's a waste of time and it's stupid. I like the voucher program. I think inner city kids deserve to go to a better school. But if people don't listen, this is a way of controlling people in the inner city by not letting them get the best education. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
But what they don't understand is, remember that lady got locked up? They said it was so there's all rooting for the lady got locked up for sending her daughter to a different school, a different district. That's the same thing, you morons. It's just that they don't. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because that's a law they put in back. You can't go to different schools. You don't live in that district. You see what I'm saying? But the voucher gives you the option to do that.
Right, exactly.
You get what I'm saying? You get what I'm saying? But too many ignorant blacks people don't understand that. But I said, okay, you just keep voting Democrat and keep being ignorant. Keep being ignorant. Keep being ignorant. And they don't understand what I'm saying, everybody, but I'm the coon of the day. Because I say, hey, I want what's best for the black community. I say we deserve to go to the best schools. But they don't want you to go to the best schools. You know why? Because that means you're going to learn better than them. And that means you're not controllable anymore. And that means you lose the black vote.
There it is.
Any black person gets money over $200,000, I guarantee you they are not voting Democrat. I guarantee you. You get money, you don't vote Democrat because they like to take money from you. It's just what it is. It is what it is. You get money, you don't want to vote what's the name. Am I right?
I mean, you got some people that might want to vote Democrat if they feel guilty, but if you're not a guilty person and you earned your money, you know you earned your money, you're gonna vote the other way because you want to keep your money. You don't want to just give it away. Matter of fact, even some of these lefty Democrats that claim to be Democrat might vote Republican on the low because they want to keep their money. I think even Bill Gates came out because Pocahontas had this whole wealth tax thing, like 2% wealth tax or $50 million. He was like, okay, I don't mind paying money in taxes more like my fair share, but come on, you're talking about 10 billion, 20 billion. Where does it end? So even some of the far lefty people would go the other way. You're talking about their money.
Exactly, because guess what? Bill Gates gives money away. Bill
Right.
Gates gives people for colleges. Bill Gates makes jobs. Bezos makes jobs. People are just stupid. They are my nervous whole thing. The rich when rich save money, they spend it on what? When they save money on tax cuts, they spend it on expanding their business. They spend it on giving jobs. Like all these new jobs in DC, guess where it came from? From Trump's tax cut. But they don't want to hear that though. Oh, they hate Trump though. He's a moron. He's an animal. But guess what though? You're a contractor, and all these small contract companies. Guess where they're starting from? Because guess what? Now they got more money to put into their businesses, more money to give people's name, but the rest don't spend on people. Yeah, they do. They open businesses, and you got to figure like the Trump Hotel. We have guys that are black guys. They say they lower for the Trump Hotel because guess what? They get no less than $25 tips for driving their cars around. Guess why? Because guess what? It's a tax cut going on. What the rich do when they got to pay more in taxes? They hide their money. They get cheap with their money. Because that's what they want to keep it.
That's right.
So people don't understand that, and this is what I tell people. This is the best country. This country is built on entrepreneurs. This is the only country in the world you can start with nothing and fail at businesses and fail and fail and fail. All it takes is one little bit of hope and a little glimmer of light, and you'll be rich in the United States.
Absolutely.
I tell people all day on time. I came from nothing. I got learning disability. I can't read that well. I can't write it well. But guess what? I make over $100,000 a year. I'm blessed. What can I say? And guess what it is? Because the United States. Because it's the only country in the world, what you don't know, you can figure it out. And you can fail and make it better. And ABL, thanks again, brother. And you know as well as I do, failure is the best teacher. Am I right, brother?
That's right.
So guess what, brother? You have a nice day. Chat rooms, keep the peace. All right, peace.
All right, peace. All right, thanks to my man JB for the call. Most certainly appreciate him. And the number to call is 434-658-1220. Let me get to the next call. 904, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hi.
904.
All right. This is Rude Dog. I'm waiting to get in the super chat. I'm waiting to talk to Brian.
You're live right now. You're talking to him right now. What's going on?
Oh, okay. It's behind. All right. Hey, how you doing?
Everything's good, man. Hey, and yeah, turn the stream off in the background, or at least turn the speakers down because it might be a little bit of.
I did.
Okay, there you go.
I did. Thank you. It's good to talk to you finally. I've been following you for a while. Yeah, I have some comments that I want to make. I want to make everybody aware of something that, you know, a lot of this political stuff that's going on that's crazy. I know I left a super chat for you on there, how crazy it is. And as Americans, we need to focus on progression in our country. Now, the word progress is used in a negative term now, but I want to explain to people how this political engine is really supposed to work. I have not seen a legitimate argument from the left in years on anything that enhances people's standard of living, or rules and equal legislation where, people like what you guys are talking about pay their fair share, corporations pay their fair share, or whatever. If it was structured properly, would we pay as much or not as much as we are? And a lot of things that we pay for don't even work for us. I mean, like, look at college, the expense of college now. What happens there is people go to college, and commoners like us don't benefit from people going to college, which we used to, because they used to buy products from places that we work, whether that be in manufacturing or retail sales. A lot of people get out of college and they can't participate in the economy until they're 40 years old. They have so much debt.
That's right.
Now, the biggest thing that I'm concerned with now in America is what's going on with Trump ever since he got into office, which surprised everybody in Washington, D.C. It was a total meltdown, but it's exposing a lot of deceptions that go on. And one of the biggest deceptions that go on is all of these things that are happening on the right and left, and even like this extreme leftist agenda, the social justice warrior stuff, all this stuff is unimportant to all of us because they give it attention, but it stops us from sitting down in chambers and have legitimate arguments on how to progress the country. This country is not progressing, and as a matter of fact, we have regressed. We have regressed in equal rights. We have regressed in pay, tax structure. Public schools are horrible. I mean, these politicians in these big cities would rather give money to the NFL than to their own public schools, police and fire. We're being so distracted by this whole mess that our society is not progressing at all. Whether you're right or left, you should be equally offended at what's really going on with all these distractions, and nothing is getting done for us, the American people, regardless of your political affiliation. And that's all I have to say.
All right. Thank you for your call. Definitely appreciate you.
All right. Thank you, bro. Bye-bye.
All right. Shout out to the caller. And thank you all for being here. If you've not liked the video, please do so. Like the video, share the video. If you're not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe right now. And click that bell as well so you get notified when I go live or post a new video, or at least you should. Maybe the bell will work. Maybe it won't work. I don't know. But try it out. See how it works out for you. All righty. But thank y'all for being here yet again. You could be anywhere, but you're right here with me. Definitely appreciate you for that. I'm going to read some of the chat right quick. All right. Nah, no Ivan yet. Let's get to the next call here. 857 on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Yes, it's Ivan, man. I'm gonna be short. I'm gonna have to be short because I'm at work.
Okay.
Hey, number one, I don't understand. I don't agree with the plan for that Elizabeth Warren put it together, because it's like what she's doing is not gonna fix the problem. It's not gonna fix any problem concerning about the cost of education. So paying off the student loan debt is not gonna do anything. But we have spent over $7 trillion between Iraq and Afghanistan, right? Why nobody protesting for that? Why everybody's quiet?
Well, I think most people are not for foreign intervention. Matter of fact,
no. I don't care about foreign intervention.
I wasn't done giving you my answer.
So now you want to give me an excuse?
Sir,
I'm talking about the money
I
that's
wasn't
being
done giving you
spent.
my answer. You asked me a question. I'm trying to answer the question.
Okay.
Now, I think people are actually against the whole thing about foreign war, because when Trump had a little run-in with Iran,
I don't care about Trump. I'm not done talking.
I'm not done talking. I'm gonna put you on mute. Like I said, when Trump had the whole thing with Iran, people were kind of like, okay, what's going on? Left and right, they were like, all right, let's wait a minute. Let's not really go down this road, because we just spent too much money. We're not trying to get into foreign wars. We're not trying to have our men and women go over there and put their lives on the line unnecessarily for a foreign war. So I'm not really sure what you're talking about.
Okay, but still the money is being spent, and it continue being spent. Even the Trump in office, we're still being spending the same amount of money.
What are we spending? What money?
Well, the money for Iran and Afghanistan. We're still there. We're still spending money. We're still paying billions of dollars for contractors that pretty much overprice everything. That money could have been used to pay the student loan. I don't agree with her plan. One more time. I don't agree because the plan doesn't tackle the problem. The problem is get rid of the student loan program. The problem is too much money in this game that they don't want to let it go. Why, if a student don't pay the bill, let's say they fall in the student loan, why the taxpayer money got to pay that investor that invest in that program? What is the reason? That's socialism, right?
What, like,
Hello?
you talking about her plan?
Yeah, I'm not talking about a plan. I'm talking about the student loan, selling my direct loan, all those loans, Stanford loan, all those loans,
Yeah.
right? The people put money. They got investors. When the student don't pay the loan, the government secure those loans. That means those loans are secure under the government. So I mean the federal government pay the investor for that money that he invested. That means he never lose money.
Yeah, that's why they're so expensive, is because the government is involved.
That's what I'm saying. The government intervention. But how come that they don't call that socialism?
Well, I mean, you could call it that. I'm against that. I think,
Let me tell you one more thing.
sir, I think that the government should get out of education and healthcare.
Dude, let me tell you one more thing. Hello?
Go ahead.
One more thing. Why nobody protesting the money that we give to Israel every month? They build schools with that money. They build universities. They invest in research with that money. They build the military with that money. Nobody says anything because you say something, you're anti-Semitic. You say something that the money.
Why'd you say Israel? Like, why'd you put on Israel? Because we gave money to all other countries in the world too. So why'd you pick out Israel?
We've been giving them more money since a long time.
But why did you pick out them? There's other countries in the world we give money to. Why'd you pick out Israel?
It's true.
The question was
than any other country.
That's not true.
It is true.
Iraq and Afghanistan get more.
No. I know what you're gonna say. You're gonna talk. No. You're gonna play that game now.
It's not a game. Foreign aid, we give
Iraq
and Afghanistan more.
Afghanistan, and you're gonna say Iraq, right? That's what you're gonna say.
It's a fact. Is it true or false?
No, it's not a fact because we. How long we been
foreign aid? We're talking about foreign aid. Who gets the most?
Okay, but how long we been?
Sir, you're on mute. When you're talking about foreign aid, who gets the most? Is it Israel or no? Yes or no?
The most.
It's not true.
The most.
That is not true.
Israel been getting aid since when?
It doesn't matter when they be getting it. The fact is that they don't get the most. That's a fact. Iraq and Afghanistan get more. I think it's Afghanistan, Iraq, and then Israel. That's the way it goes. Like, why would you mention them? He hung up. Alrighty. But shout out to everybody watching. I definitely appreciate y'all for being here. Yeah, I'm all about facts. If they got the most money, then I would say they get the most money. But I mean, we got to be factual if we're going to be talking about aid and whatnot. Let's not just, take a spicy take to get popular or, just be factual. Alrighty. But shout out to everybody in the building. I definitely appreciate y'all. He said he's wrong. Great Britain gets the most. Now you going down a whole different rabbit hole there. Yeah, aid. All of foreign aid is like $50 billion. $50 billion would it be? All foreign aid combined, $50 billion. That's nothing really. When you're talking about all the money that we spend on waste, the waste, fraud, and abuse is much more than that. We throw away more money than we give to all countries in aid. If you want to talk about aid in Israel, just talk about aid in general and say, let's cancel all foreign aid. And then if you're going to say let's cancel all foreign aid, the question has to be asked, why do you want to cancel all foreign aid? What's the purpose behind that? If you want to say let's cancel all foreign aid, okay, but just to particular countries, like you wouldn't give this country aid, but not that country. Why? I don't know. Sushi says, per Google, the countries we receiving the most were Great Britain 3.3 billion, France 2.3 billion, and West Germany 1.4 billion. Well, there you go. Yeah, our NATO allies, all funding NATO, and then Trump went over there and said, "Hey, we're paying way too much in NATO. Germany, UK, France, y'all got to step up. Italy, y'all got to step up and give some more because we're tired of footing the bill for this whole situation. And then they, have pledged to spend some more. That's absolutely, it is what it is. So that's just, we give aid and monies to a lot of other countries, a lot of other particular things. That was the whole thing with the Paris Climate Accord. It was non-binding, but you were kind of expected to give money. We're like, nah, we're good. We don't want that. Let's talk about how much money that Barack Obama gave to Iran. Now, some would say that we owe them that money, but did we really? Whatever. Let's get to the next call here. 318, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hello?
Yes.
ABL. Hey. Man, that was quick. How you doing? It's Technologic. How's everything going this evening?
Everything's great, man. Can't complain about yourself.
Oh, pretty good, I guess. Hey, listen, I want to say hi to everybody and check on how you're doing. But also, I had, are you familiar with the other YouTuber that does a channel called High Impact Blogs?
Yes.
Okay. Well, recently he stopped working and started, streaming full time. And he got into a heated, discussion. It was mainly me he was talking to because, if you know him, he doesn't like any party's candidate. Like, he's against Trump. And his whole thing is, all these systems are broken. There's nothing works. And I was just having a little conflict because I'm like, well, there's a lot of, you can prick holes into anything, but, there's no solutions he's bringing in. So, but he mentioned, I was like, why don't, I think you should talk to ABL. And he was like, I'd love to, do this. And so I was going to get at you, but, do you think you could do a talk with him or something like that? Because I think you could get through his head a little bit better than me because I get too worked up. You have more, facts at your command than I do. But I don't know. Would that be something? Could I give him some kind of information or something like that? If you've got ever some time, maybe, I don't know, have him call in or Skype in or something?
I'm interested for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Go through your normal contact stuff that's on the YouTube channel?
Yeah. Yep. Everything's right there.
Page?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to tell him the next time I get where I can, talk to him or it's doing live streams or something, and I'll kind of send him your way. But yeah, I think I somebody needs to talk some sense into him because this guy's a smart guy. He just, he's an anarcho-capitalist, but, he wants there to be, and I understand the taxation thing because, taxation, they just take our money, but at the same time, I'm like, yeah, but what will the country do if you just delete that? Because, it's not going to be an instant, solution. And that's my whole argument. I'm like, yes, these things are terrible, but the terribleness is not really for us. It's for people that, don't follow the rules and, the crazy people and stuff like gun control and stuff like that. That's mainly for people that don't know how to handle, firearms. Most gun owners are pretty responsible people, so the rules mainly are made up for the people that, that need them,
Right.
And I'm always arguing because Trump did make that statement about the red flag laws, and it's kind of freaky and stuff like that. But I think they kind of pigeonhole him in a lot of times when they get him to answer questions. It's kind of pain him badly. But anyways, yeah, I just wanted to kind of throw that out at you and tell you hello and everything. So yeah, I'll let you get on to it.
Well, thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, man, thanks for what you do. Keep doing it, brother.
All right, will do.
Good night. All right, peace.
All right, shout out to the caller. I most certainly appreciate him. And thank you guys for being here. You guys know the drill. The number to call is 434-658-1220. Read some of the chat right here. Shout out to Anna Williams who says life is good. Life is good. And thank you for your donation. I most certainly appreciate y'all. All righty. Hold on. Is this true? Dennis Altman says Pelosi wasted $10,000 on special pens with the word unite spelled wrong. That's hilarious. If that's correct, that's just hilarious. And my question would be, where did the money come from that? That's what I want to know. I sincerely hope that's not taxpayers' money. Oh my goodness, I hope not. It better not be. I don't think that it is taxpayers' money. I don't think she'd be that dumb to do something like that. But if it was, then good grief. You're talking about fraud, waste, and abuse. I mean, that's crazy. 901, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hello?
Yes.
Is this ABL?
Yes, it is. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, bud, this is Heath from Memphis. How you doing?
Everything's good, man. Can't complain.
Man, these Democrats are trying to pull a number, huh?
Yeah, they're doing a lot, but it's not going to be successful, in my opinion.
Yeah. Anyway, I wanted to talk to you about two things. One is the education system, and another is how Democrats do things in their cities. For example, if you notice, like in New York, when they raised the $15 minimum wage, that a lot of restaurants closed.
Yeah.
Well, they know that they know when they do that, it creates people without a job, which makes them angry, which makes them turn to stuff like socialist programs.
So it could be kind of okay. Go ahead.
All right, I'm sorry, I got kids talking. Let me close my door real quick.
All righty.
Hang on a second. Okay, I'm good.
All right.
Yeah. I mean, why is it everything they institute always leads to somebody either becoming homeless, you know what I'm saying, and having to turn to men, you know, and stuff like that. Do you notice that? I noticed that a lot.
I didn't even put that together, but it makes perfect sense to me, and I think it could be done on purpose because the goal could just be to get you in a vulnerable position, so they're able to take advantage of you. You know, you don't have a job anymore. Well, look, vote for us because we got you. We created a problem and a solution as well. The problem is you don't have a job anymore because we made it too expensive to hire you. But the solution is more government, more handouts, more benefits from us.
Which in turn, you know, makes you more angry, makes you give up on yourself personally, and makes you turn more toward communism, which is what they want.
That's right. Absolutely.
You know? And another thing about the education system, I think what we need to do is revamp it. I think instead of paying for sending money to colleges, they've already got enough money. Most of these people have gigantic trust, you know, from alumni and shit, and they're millions of dollars.
You can't cuss though. You can't cuss though.
Sorry, dude. Sorry, I didn't mean to cuss. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But I didn't mean to say that. Sorry about that, dude. Don't mean to get you in trouble.
Oh, no, it's all good. It's all right.
It's my fault, not ABL. You know? Anyway, I think what they need to do, instead of teaching like 6 subjects back to back in a year, I think they need to like teach like 3 years of reading, 3 years of math, 3 years of science, and then send you to a trade school.
Yeah,
or
at least have the option available, because some people, it really just depends on what you can do, because some people, they can be good at advanced academics, but some people at a certain point, you know, okay, they're probably going to be better at a trade school if they're not necessarily like a top of their class and all this and that, but they're good with their hands. You just got to kind of see where they're at. They have in some countries, they got these little tests where they say, okay, if you pass this test, you go to this particular part of our education system. If you fail it, you go over here. I think it should be more of, you kind of see what they're good at early in school. You kind of observe them, and then you kind of like, all right, here's an option. Go to the trade school, you can do X, Y, and Z, or go over here and do X, Y, and Z. Because nowadays, the trade schools are becoming like, you know, an endangered species. They're almost not even around anymore.
Well, that's true. Yeah, that is true. But I mean, you're still going to need people to do electrical. That takes a trade.
Yeah.
You need people, you know, even something like, you know, embalming a body should be a trade. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I know it sounds morbid. You know what I'm saying?
But yeah, I mean, it makes sense. Like, rather than wait until you get to college to try to find out what your career is going to be, you should be able to, like high school, try to get training for your job at that point.
Yeah. See, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
But I also believe that if instead of teaching these subjects back to back, if you just, you know, if they build a strong foundation, a lot of these people who claim to have so-called, I don't believe in a low IQ. I believe it's in the way you teach somebody. You know what I'm saying? Because I've met people, you know, on the spectrum where they didn't understand something, but if you come up with a different way of teaching that person, they remember it.
Right.
You know, I never believe in shit like. I mean, sorry, let me do that again. Low IQs. I don't believe in that kind of crap. I just believe it's the way you teach people. And IQ has nothing to do with color. It has nothing to do with where you're from in the world. It's just how you're taught. Period.
Yeah.
You know, if you know, and I'm not wrong. I mean, look at these books that they put out where they show you a short way to do a mathematical problem. You know what I'm saying? And stuff like that, and kids pick up on it like that. That proves my point.
Right.
Anyway, I just wanted to say that. I hope you're doing good. I hope your family's doing good. Love the show. Watch it every week.
All right. Thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you.
All right, man. Bye-bye.
All right, now. All right. Shout out to the caller. Most certainly appreciate him. Let me get to the next call. All right, caller, you on the line. 847, who am I speaking to?
Hi, this is Sean from Illinois.
All righty. What's going on?
I was just calling to say I appreciate what you do and the channel that you've created and all the support that you give for the president.
Well, I thank you.
And there was something else I wanted to talk about. There was a person in the chat that I was talking to. Her name was Junebug. And I had mentioned something, and she commented saying that blacks were only like 2% of business owners and everything like that. And I commented on it, and the comment got deleted. But what I wanted to tell her was that under Trump, you know, black unemployment is at an all-time low, and that under President Trump, that black ownership and with the tax cut that's given black businesses more money, that's allowing black business owners to make more businesses and to benefit them, making more businesses for their families and to get more money.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, 100%. I mean, that's definitely a fact. I'm hearing that more and more as I'm out here, as I'm traveling, as I'm moving around. People are telling me that they're saying that, you know, things have improved for them, their lives have improved, their families have improved. So that's definitely happening. And, you know, the media, they don't really want to cover that. They kind of want to push it under the rug because that's, you know, good information is good news about how Trump is doing as it relates to the black community. And good news like that will kind of get in the way of their goal, which is to get him out of office.
Yeah, like ever since he's been in office, all they've been focused on is impeachment. You had Russia hoax, and then you had Mueller, and now you have Ukraine hoax. And it's just really just costing more and more taxpayer dollars on these witch hunts that there's no evidence. It's just he say, she say, and there's really no evidence to back up any of their allegations. And at this point, it's just basically a waste of time. And it's basically only like maybe 1/3, if not less, is probably even following the impeachment trial in the Senate because they know there's no evidence and there's no chance that he's going to be impeached, because in order for him to be removed from office, there'd have to be at least like 20 Republicans to vote in favor with the Democrats. And considering how partisan it was in the House and that every Republican voted against it, what makes them think that they're going to vote against the president and try and remove him?
Right. Yeah. Like, I think that they know they probably won't be able to get anywhere with this, but their hope is that they'll be able to make him look bad for the 2020 election, to put doubt in your mind, and when you go to the poll to vote. That's their hope. But see, I think that's going to backfire because Trump's still going to be out here campaigning. He's not going to just lay down and not do anything. He's going to campaign on that. Like, okay, I beat it. They tried to get me out. They were unsuccessful. So what they're trying to do is not going to actually work.
No, and honestly, it's just like a lot of them say. You know, I go on Facebook and I try and go to all these anti-Trump posts, and a lot of the people there say that, oh, he's going to be removed, this and that, and then the people that say he's not going to be removed, they're like, oh, at least, you know, he's been impeached. That'll always be on his record. So really, it's just about staining his record, which isn't going to really hurt him at all, considering all the great things he's done for all races, for business, for the tariffs, for the tax cuts, and every other thing he's done for America, making sure we get more money, more jobs, everything else.
That's right.
So I just wanted to call and let you know that I really do appreciate your channel, and definitely going to be watching you. I had to come outside. I tried calling, but I lost the number, and then I had to come back in and get the number. So just calling to say thank you.
Well, thank you for the call. I definitely appreciate you.
All right. Have a good night.
Same to you.
Bye.
All right. Shout out to the caller. Most certainly appreciate him. And thank you all for being here. You could be anywhere but right here me, so I definitely appreciate that 100%. And let me see. Read some of the chat here. Yeah, this whole impeachment thing, there's nothing to it. It's just a matter of trying to make Trump look bad. It was never going to get anywhere from the beginning. That was a non-starter. 304, you on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hi, this is Amber from West Virginia.
All righty, what's going on?
Hey, I'm doing good. I was just wanting to mention a little bit about the trade school and stuff like that. My area, we have a program where the kids that are in high school, the last 2 years of high school, they can do a trade. So when they graduate, they'll have a degree or whatever in that trade in order to be able to go out and work. So that's a really good program that we have. I don't know if that's normal for cities to have that, but they can get stuff like, the hair and nails thing. They can be a CNA. Then they can also do like all the regular trade stuff. There's all kinds of different things that they can take, phlebotomy, all kinds of stuff. So their junior and senior year, they can go to the trade school, which seems to work out pretty good. And then also with like the college, I think if they got rid of the general studies classes, like having to take English, math, or whatever for 2 years before you even get to do your, your major, if they would get rid of that, that would help out a lot too. Smart, because you're just wasting your time writing papers and stuff in English when you're going to be, say, a nurse. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
exactly.
You get rid of some of those kind of things. That would help also. So do they not really have trade schools in the high school programs in other places?
Well, they do some places they don't. Where I was living, they had one that I know of in the city I was living in, but that's not everywhere. Some places they don't have trade schools, and some places, if there's a trade school, it may not necessarily be what you can do in high school. You may have to complete your high school career, then after that go to trade school. But I know there was one where kids went to, you could just finish your high school at the trade school.
Yeah, ours is like junior and senior. They go to another school, and they learn a trade. They graduate like everybody else does, but they also have a degree in whatever they do at the trade school.
Right.
So, and it's free. So,
oh, wow. Okay.
Yep. And that's here in West Virginia. So, but they have real good programs here. So I just wanted to share that with you. So I think they really do need to get rid of the college thing where they have the first 2 years of classes don't even have anything to do with what you're wanting to do, your career-wise anyway.
Absolutely, 100%, because you're just wasting time. I remember being in college when I was going for the while that I went, thinking, okay, why am I taking this class? English and social studies? It's like, for what? I've already taken this. Let me get to the training part that I want to do so I can get a job when I leave.
Yeah, I think it's just about money that they're making on those. But then people end up dropping out because they don't want to do, papers on stupid stuff and read books, that have nothing to do with what they want to do, so they end up quitting anyway. But I think they should go straight to what they want to be. Like, we have nurses now that can't even do basic nursing thing. I'm a nurse. They can't do basic nursing things because they are book educated. They have no idea what they're doing as far as patients go. And I think if they focus more on, what you're actually wanting to become when you're in college, it would be a lot cheaper and it would be a lot more effective.
That's right.
But that's all I had to say.
All right. Thank you for the call. Definitely appreciate you.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Shout out to the caller. Great call. And thank you all for being here. Definitely appreciate y'all as well. You guys know the drill. The number to call is 434-658-1220. And let's get to the next call. 580, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Kelly from Oklahoma.
All righty. What's going on?
How are you doing?
I'm great. Can't complain.
It's been a long time since I've gotten to talk to you. Man, so let's talk about school. I'm a 35-year teacher veteran. I'm in my 35th year. Most of those years I've taught special education. And so I just respectfully disagree with the caller that said he doesn't believe, in lower IQ, because that's, that's just incorrect information. I mean, we're not all given the same amount of intelligence. You can look in the eyes of some people, and they are precious. I love them, but the understanding just isn't there. It happens. And I teach kids with learning disabilities, emotional problems, and he is right when he says you need to teach them differently. The problem in public school systems is when teachers think they have to teach how they were taught versus teach how children learn.
Yeah.
And every child can learn. And then, but the ability level is just different. It's just like, okay, Russell Westbrook, he's always going to be a better basketball player than you. That's the way that it is. He has that ability. And there are people with that academic, cognitive ability. And talking about colleges, just last week, my son, who's graduating as a senior from Southwestern Oklahoma State University, go Bulldogs, my alma mater, I sent him a picture of my tuition my freshman year in the fall of 1978. My full tuition, just guess how much it was.
Oh, wow. I can't even imagine.
Just take a wild guess.
20,000?
For my first semester only, it was $178 total.
Oh, wow.
Total.
Wow.
Now, that didn't include my $400 dorm that included all of my meals.
Wow.
So for $578, I completed my first semester of college. $12.45 per college hour.
Wow.
What has happened in 40 years?
Oh, the government getting involved with education.
You and I both know that. And so the truth is, this inflation of college debt, and I agree, I talk to my kids, go to trade school. What do you love to do? What is your passion? Do every day what you would do for free. I went to school, I graduated from school, went back to school so that for the next 35 years, every day I can be at school. I love what I do. But when you look at one semester, my first semester, the tuition is $178. I'm so glad I kept it. I have a picture of it. Something's gone awry. And it has not been an increase in the quality of education.
No, not at all.
So my last comment of the day, I watched, you obviously watched today, didn't you watch?
I saw some of what was going on today, yes.
Oh my God. Okay. So I was like having my own hallelujah session in my house. My last statement is what I've told you before. As far as the left goes, no matter how many times they say the same thing, you cannot make a lie become the truth. And no matter how much you avoid it, you cannot make the truth become a lie.
That's right.
And that's what I got for you tonight, ABL.
Well, I thank you for your call. I definitely appreciate you.
Okay. Be blessed, my friend.
All right, now, same to you.
Mm-hmm.
Great call. Fantastic call. Loved it. I was way off with the, I guess a little bit high. I thought it might have been like 15,000, but 178, that's crazy. Now, I found a little graph here, and I enjoy some of these graphs that give you a lot of good information. Let's see if I can put it up on the screen. Give me one moment to tighten myself up here. Then we can get it up on the screen. Okay, hold on. Let's see. Let's see if it's going to do what I want it to do. Okay. Now, it may be kind of hard to see it, but I may zoom in at a certain point. Now, this graph represents 20 years of price changes in the United States. As you can see from the headline, it says selected consumer goods and services and wages, January 1998 to December 2018. Now, it goes according to like your wage, what you can afford, what you can't afford. Now, as you can see, start at one point, 1998 to 2018. What becomes cheaper over time? This is like what's like right here and below. TVs, toys, computer software, wireless telephone services, apparel, new cars, household furnishings. These things have either stayed right around the same or they've become cheaper. The blue is pretty much like, or teal, whatever, that's pretty much the same. These things have become cheaper. Now, what's become more expensive? Hospital services has skyrocketed. Look at this. Look at how high this is compared to what it was back then. Hospital services, college tuition and fees, college textbooks. That's a whole racket in itself. I mean, the books are just like $200 for a book, and then the whole scheme with the editions. Like, I realized when I was in school, I graduated with an associate's degree, right? And then I went to a 4-year college for like a year. And that year, I realized that I was being scammed. College textbooks, like just stupid stuff. Child care and nursery school, medical care services, average hourly earnings, housing, food and beverages. So if what you've earned has gone up this much, you're able to afford the things that are below here. Housing, food, beverages, that's still pretty high, but it's not as high as things that have gone above what you make, which are childcare, college textbooks, college tuition and fees, hospital services. Now, what do these things have in common? Government, government, government. It tells you everything right there. So I'll leave it at that and get to the next call. All righty, let's go ahead and get my thing back normal here. Did I get everybody? Hold on. I think I have something I wanted to read. Oh, shout out to Super Root Dog, who says Jimmy Carter signed executive order reducing education money, and every year after is less and less. Interesting. Thank you for your donation. Definitely appreciate you. Thank you to Super Root Dog, who says, for the teacher, love you, girl. All righty. And did I get both of those? I got those. Mike from Queens, what's happening?
Hey, Anthony, what's going on?
Everything's good, man. Can't complain.
That's good to hear. I know it's been a while since I called in. I just try to hit you up with a couple of donations here and there, but yeah, I tell you, President Trump has really shown the true grit of a New Yorker. Everything that they've thrown at him, the man just doesn't back down. He doesn't quit, and you just have to admire that.
100%. And I like how he keeps saying that the call was perfect, because they keep trying to pressure him on the left and a lot on the right too, to say, oh, well, maybe the call wasn't that perfect. Maybe I could have done better. It's like, no, the call was perfect. It was no pressure. There was no quid pro quo. And then once he gets vindicated after they do not convict him in the impeachment trial, he'll be saying the same thing. It was perfect. You see what happened? I didn't get convicted. What are you going to do? So I like how he was able just to stand in there, take all the shots, give shots, and keep on rocking.
He's a fighter. He's not a quitter. He's been dealing with Jerry Nadler for the last 25, 30 years. He knows what kind of slime he is. Same thing with Adam Schiff. They're all establishment hacks. And, you know, it's just amazing on how – I think it's just the grace of God. I think it's just divine intervention on how he got elected and on how he stood, you know, firm, you know, his last 3+ years. It's amazing.
That's right. Absolutely. I mean, and that, you know what? And I saw a lot of that when he was running, when he was on the stage during the debates. I would see how he would stand when he would get attacked by the media, attacked by those on stage. He stood tall. I knew he'd do the same thing when he became the president.
Exactly. You know, and as for the Democrats, it just goes to show you on how the far left is taking control of the party. If they're crazy enough to nominate Bernie Sanders as their candidate, they're going to go down. I mean, they're already going down in flames. Since 2016. He might be able to win the Democratic nomination because of who's taking over that party. He's not going to win the general election. His message is he's too radical for most of the people in this country.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, nobody has a chance of being able to win like over there. Nobody has any kind of chance, but he may win the nomination. Yeah, because really it's kind of up for grabs at this point. The Democratic Party may try to do some funny things like they did last time with Bernie and Hillary, but really it's kind of up for grabs. It's no real clear front runner in the race at this particular point in time.
And it's kind of funny, but it's funny. Stick Sexenham has been preaching in his last few videos about, he goes, as a Vermonter, he's like, please go out and if you're in Iowa and you can vote in the caucuses, go out and vote for Joe Biden just to shame Bernie Sanders. And what's his face? He's talked about on how he watches your content is H.A. Goodman. He's funny, H.A. Goodman. He's been saying the last friggin' year that Hillary Clinton is gonna be the nominee.
Hey, you know what? I was thinking the same thing because she's still around, still doing talks, still doing speeches and whatnot. And I read some of her interviews she did with for this documentary she got coming on Hulu. I read some of that, and then she was saying that she keeps getting asked every day to run, and I don't doubt it because they're probably trying to get her to go out there and run. But I think even she knows that she barely made it through last time. She was looking like Weekend at Bernie's, being drugged through, looking like Geppetto, So at a certain point, it's like, okay, I can't be a puppet over here and get dragged through the race. I'm going to go ahead and just sit out. She might try to endorse somebody from the outside like Barack Obama and try to interfere that way, but she probably won't run.
Yeah, I think H.A. Goodman's a little bit. I think he makes a great point, but I think it's a little far-fetched at this point, and they just have nobody. Joe Biden doesn't know half the time which state he's in. Bernie Sanders, as we've called him in the past, is bypass Bernie. His ideas are crazy, and the stuff now coming out with Project Veritas. I mean, his campaign's in trouble. And those might just be fake polls. Oh, he's leading over here. He's got a good chance of being a nominee. It's so easy to get a hashtag trending on Twitter.
That's right. Yeah.
And listen, you know what? Even in the blue cities, even in these cities that are blue, people are doing better than they were 3 or 4 years ago. We just got a contract. I'm going to be getting a 10% raise over the next 4 years.
Right. Wow.
Yeah,
wow. There you go. Yeah. There you go. I mean,
with my job,
even in New York, if people are benefiting from what Trump is doing, from what's happening in the nation. So at a certain point, even if a person is a leftist voter, it's hard for them to ignore what's happening with the country. It's positive.
Like you said, the people's 401ks, their retirement accounts, whether they're traditional IRAs, Roth IRA accounts, everybody, everybody benefits from a rising tide, as they would say.
That's right.
And also too, no additional, because there's so much money there right now, no additional contributions into the healthcare benefits, which is very important.
Right. Exactly.
And that's why Bernie is not even going to get union people to vote for him, because he's talked about, if he passes a Medicare for all, on taking away private insurance. I don't want government insurance.
Yeah, I mean, that's not.
Private insurance is a much better deal overall.
Yeah, government being involved with healthcare, that's a big part of the problem now. I mean, with education, we see happen with education. You got these government-backed loans. Education is just it's expensive, and it's all kind of things that are going on. And we see what happens with government healthcare in other countries. It's not good.
Listen, you know what? I don't feel sorry for call me mean, but I don't feel sorry for nobody that gets themselves into $125,000 worth of student debt. You know what you were getting into when you signed that dotted line. And you know what? You go to a school that's cheaper, or like you discussed with your previous schools, you go to a trade school.
Yeah. Definitely.
Nothing is free. all of these promises, free education, whatnot, middle class people are going to wind up having to pay for it if it ever gets passed. It's not feasible. So on that note, let me get going, and I'll talk to you soon.
All right, thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you.
Thank you for the time. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
All right, thank you to Mike for the call. Most certainly appreciate him as always. And thank you all for being here. Appreciate you guys as well. The number to call is 434-658-1220. 712, you on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hi, ABL. How are we doing this today? Good evening to everybody out there.
Everything's good, man. Can't complain. About yourself?
Good. Excellent. Hey, number one, I mean, I'm from Iowa here, so I'm going to give a shout out to one of my brothers out there that actually stood up to Liz Warren and basically say, you know what, I've worked hard, did the right way, paid my student debt, and am I going to get reimbursed? No. That's what she said, and she kind of smirked on it. So I want to give a shout out to that guy.
Definitely. Shout out to him because what he said, a lot of people around the country are feeling.
Well, I know because I went to college. I heard that you've gone to college. You said you went to a trade school and you went to a year of college yourself. And I've been 4 years, basically 2 years of trade school, 2 years of another trade school. Basically, I've got a degree, 2 associate's degrees, basically, almost a bachelor's, you could almost say, of mechanical engineering. So I went for the meat and potato stuff instead of going to the liberals and trying to learn how to draw dirty art about Jesus Christ throwing stuff on, crap on him or whatever.
Right.
So
right.
I didn't go to that kind of a college. So, but when I got out of college, you know what I did? I joined the military. They had a little thing going on. It's called Help Repay the Student Loan. And I did my service, and the government helped me also pay that off. So if you want something free, you know what? There's ways around it. You can find things that help you pay things off, and that's what I did. So I'm just saying that I also kept it up, paid my own student loans and my wife's student loans, and it's called responsibility. So I feel sorry for you. You've gone to college and you picked the wrong trade. You know what? No one to blame but look in the mirror.
That's right.
So, and another thing, talking about, ever since government got involved with anything, it always goes up. So why don't we ask the professors and the administration, stuff like that, why don't you guys start cutting your wages, what you're earning, to help get students lower that cost? But you think they would do that? No, they ain't going to do that. So that's I'm kind of, I've been working. I worked out as a plumber, and I've worked in schools, and you know what? I know it's kind of tough. I'm going to rag on a little bit of teachers a little bit here, that saying that, it's tough to be in school. Why don't you go dig in a ditch or dig with human feces and stuff like that? You really start realizing that, your job isn't quite that bad. You got air conditioning, you got heating, you got a building you can go to. Hey, I'm not trying to knock your trade, but when I start hearing these commercials, like we got commercials, being here in Iowa, we're getting bombarded by commercials. Can't wait till the caucus. So we're getting bombarded, and I'm hearing Mrs. Biden say about the teachers and stuff. I'm like, wait a minute here. You know what? We all do a part to make a society, but I feel like the teachers union is basically, all we want is more money, and our kids are getting more and more not educated. How about having a simple class like how to balance a checkbook? That would be a good thing. How to pick the right trade that you want to do. Instead of basically, here I got student debt, now I'm crying about that. It's called responsibility. Figure out what you're going to do in life and then go do it. So there's nothing wrong with trade schools. Nothing. Even that, being a plumber, just to give you a hint, we have such a shortage of trying to get young people into it that we have the company that I was working for, because I just retired, company I was working for was basically, we will take you and we will train you, and you know what? You get paid for it too. So and I mean they have to go classes like once a week, basically on a Friday for 2-3 hours, and basically for the months of between September and May, and then you do your classwork, and then you get the summer where you can do more work, because usually summertime we're a lot more busier, and it's good to a great Trump economy that's going on right now. So there's ways that you can, and I know that's just not the plumbers. I know it's on the sheet metal side. I know it's on the carpentry side. I know there's ways around it of not going where you have to go to a liberal arts college. So, and then another thing I want to give a shout out to is President Trump. I do really love what this president's done. First president to ever go to Life to March for Life. Gave a good speech. I figured he just keeps on going, and basically, I'm glad to see that finally we had a president finally just comes up and says, "Hey, life does mean something to everybody." And what really shocked me, I was listening to you last week, and maybe it was a few days ago, and what really shocked me when you said that, I had a wow, that seems, how come no one really talks about that? That 21 million black babies basically have been killed is I mean,
yep,
aborted
since 1973. Yep, 21. It's probably more than that. It's probably closer to 23. And here's a different stat. I have a lot of stats on this actually. In New York City, more black babies are aborted than born. And I think 2018 there were 6,500 more black babies that were aborted and actually born. So it's a serious situation when you're talking about abortion and human survival. Black and white birth rates in America are below replacement. Illegal aliens, however, have a much higher birth rate. So it's like, are we as Americans trying to are they trying to change what America is, or do they want different people to come in here? Do they want to change the culture? What's going on? I don't know, whatever it is, but black and white Americans have birth rate that's below replacement, and a lot of that is because of the abortion industry.
Exactly, so, and you just shocked me on that, because, I mean, you were talking to a gentleman, you said you went a little bit longer than usual, and you know what, and I thought to myself, and I wanted to say this to you, you get somebody like that, you do need to spend a little more time with them, kind of explain them to him. He wasn't too sure about all the facts. He's from Detroit, if I remember right. And you're right. You need to spend a little more time saying, "Hey, look this up. Don't believe me. Look this up. This is half of our population is basically gone, of Americans. Of black Americans. So I mean, that was, to me, is like, you go for it. Don't. To me, something like that comes up, you got a point to make, or try to have them. Maybe you might not be able to turn that person, but there might be somebody else that's listening that says, "Hey, he's right. You're right.
Right.
You need to look this up." And to me, that was like one of the biggest things. I was like, go get them. Don't worry about the time. I mean, really, honestly, it's your show. Go get them. And basically, I mean, I try to throw some facts out there when I'm typing a little bit. I know you probably don't see me too much, but I just like, it's your show. And if you can educate, maybe turn one or two people. Hey, that's one or two people that wasn't turned, that understands a little bit, that use our brains. Use our brains, not our feelings. Everything's feeling this. I can't be PC correct. That's what I loved about Ben Carson when he first came out. I was actually a Ben Carson supporter, and he was not. Hey, I adore. I got to meet him. I really adore that guy. I mean, he's just very. I don't care what anybody, what's her name says. he's a very more intelligent person than a lot of people that I know, and even
Definitely.
me. So I'm not even going to be in the same wavelength as that man is. So, but anyhow, I kind of want to give a couple shout-outs on that. I just wanted to let you know that keep up the good work. You're doing the good work. You're the man. And everybody out there, I watched a little bit of that impeachment thing today. I did think that just want to say something real fast.
Well, I kind of got to get to my next call here. I'm sorry.
Okay, I was just gonna say I think Trump's team did an excellent job today. Those 2-3 hours did an excellent job.
Definitely.
So we'll see more of that. So you have a good evening. Everybody else out there, you have a good evening too.
All right. Thank you for the call. Definitely appreciate you.
You bet. Bye-bye.
All right. Shout out to the caller. Most certainly appreciate him. And thank you all for being here. I appreciate you as well. Let me get to the next call. 832, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hello. Hey, Anthony.
No.
Anyway, yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead, boss.
Okay, yeah, before I get to the call, I am not that troll that's been calling from Georgia who does that. It's just like, I just had to start that for fun. But anyway, I want to get into the topic. Man, I just heard some good discussion talking about the college loans and all that. Yeah. It's just because we've been brainwashed, Anthony, in the public school system that you have to go to college because you'll be making more money. If you don't study hard, go to college, you'll be homeless. You know, a lot of young people, since their mind is impressionable, they believe that and took it to heart. And that's why when they finish high school, they will go out of state. They will go to private universities and wind up racking like 6 figures in debt and wind up to have no job.
Yeah, exactly. And then people, a lot of kids aren't really, they're not, how can I say, they're not cultivated. They don't know what they can do. They don't know what the world has in store for them once they get to be an adult. All they know is, I got to go to college. They don't know anything about anything else. They've not been really told. When they're going to the regular school, they're not really being told about anything that it can do. All they know is get good grades, do good in school, go to college, get good grades, do good in school. Maybe I'll get into a career if I make some money. But they don't really know a lot of times what else is available to them. And if they do know, they kind of look down on it like it's not really a good thing to be at a trade school or something like that.
Oh, my gosh. I was a victim of that too, Anthony. You know, yeah, my name's Anthony as well. I think you remember me.
I remember you, yeah.
I went to automotive school, and I was okay, and I was happy. But then, you know, people tell me, no, you know, that's not a good field. You know, you're gonna be broke, and I had stigma that people that go to trade school are people that got out of prison, people that will never amount to anything, and I fell victim to that I had to eventually switch majors, and good thing I went through with it. You know, I was going to go to criminal justice, go in law enforcement, but you know, thank God I only took a few courses and then decided just to, you know, quit.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And I also moved from Texas to California. I know it's a big shocker, but the good thing about California is taught me so much about budgeting, saving money, and all this. And I see a lot of homeless people out here, but I believe that are just people making excuses, you know, because there's so many programs, there's so many ways to, you know, help you get you back on your feet, you know, and there's also apprenticeship programs that don't even cost you a dime. You just
but you know what? A lot of the homeless are just on drugs. That's all. That's usually if you see a person out there, especially in California, homeless, it's usually drugs. So they're out there just living a drug addict lifestyle on the street.
Mm-hmm. Mostly that, and then I have people telling me like, you know, these people just fall into hard times, but I really don't believe that, because I always say this: if someone is truly homeless, it's only going to be temporary, and they'll find whatever resources available to get out of that state.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, that's it. And you know, I know people say, "Oh, you're making a mistake moving to California." I mean, I moved because of my brother, and when I came back to Texas, I was unemployed, and my brother, he was in the military, and since he was able to buy a house and kind of rent out and make extra money. So he was able to hire me to help him out and make some money. And plus, I do rideshare service, so that was like extra money I can do at my own time. So there's in this country, well, in this state, California, you know, pretty much you can make it, or you can, like my brother told me, you can either sink or swim.
That's right.
That's it. And I just want to tell you, thank you for taking my call. I mean, I called many times just to reach. I know you're busy tonight. I'm glad I finally speak to you, and hope you have a good night, ABL.
And thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you.
Bye-bye.
Shout out to my man for the call. Most certainly appreciate him. Nippin, what's going on?
Hello?
Yes, Nippin.
Oh, I thought you couldn't hear me.
I hear you well, man. What's going on?
Oh, not much. I have to praise that Iowa dad for standing up to Elizabeth Warren. I mean, no, you can't just tell someone to pay more taxes. You just can't.
Well, in this case, you know, it was like, okay, I've already paid my daughter's education out of my pocket. I mean, why don't I get reimbursed while somebody who did not save and took out a loan, they get reimbursed? It's not fair.
And on my side of the ocean, well, not in England, Marine Le Pen has decided to stand to run for the presidency of France.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yep. And I'm going to be supporting her every way of it.
Now, how does that work? Isn't she from the UK?
Marine Le Pen, she's French.
Oh, she's French. Okay. All right. That's right. I remember now. Now, she was doing something before. Like, what was she trying to become before?
The president of France.
Oh, okay. I don't know why I'm thinking she was trying to do something. Like, I thought she was trying to be something else. I remember now. She was running against Macron and lost, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I remember. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure she's going to win this time, though, because France have moved towards the right since he got elected.
Yeah. Now, are they able to have like multiple terms back to back as far as being the president, or is it term limits?
Yes, they can have multiple terms.
Okay. Yeah, I mean,
but they have 5-year terms as opposed to the US, who have 4 years.
Okay.
But I don't think there's a term limit per se, so you can keep running and running and running.
I see.
But yeah. So yeah, you can do the same in the UK as well, but a general election has to be held every 5 years.
Gotcha.
And it can be called earlier as well.
Okay, I see.
So yeah, Joe Rogan endorses Bernie Sanders.
That's right.
That's a surprise.
I mean, but okay.
I thought he was a conservative.
No.
He had so many conservatives on his TV show.
Yeah, but Joe Rogan is just a decent liberal. He's not one of these crazy leftist nut jobs that you may see on TV over here. And the thing about it is, he has a very big platform. So
then why is he endorsing Bernie Sanders, who is literally the epitome of crazy leftist liberal nut jobs?
I mean, you got a point there. You definitely got a point, but I'm not really sure why he's endorsing Bernie. But nah, I've known for a while that he's a liberal, Joe Rogan that is, because he'll say certain things. I pick up on it. He's just a person that will not discriminate against you if you are on the right. He'll have you on and he'll talk, and basically he'll kind of talk the way that you're talking if you're his guest. That's kind of how that goes.
Yeah, he's one of the only few liberals I actually like.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, apart from that, I don't think that. Yeah, I still respect him, but that's the only thing I question. That he stands. That, yeah, basically, yeah, a liberal but who endorses a communist.
Yeah, right, yeah.
But yeah, so there's this Chinese flu going on.
Yeah.
Apparently, it's caused by the food they eat in that area.
I mean, that's what they're saying. It could be other things, but I mean, if you're eating bats and rats, that's probably not a good idea.
No, I know the Chinese eat a lot of weird things. I mean, raw fish, okay. There's sushi. Well, that's Japanese, but yeah. But rats? Oh, no.
Yeah.
Bats? I'm sorry, but I'd rather be called a racist for not eating your type of food. But you know that you get called a racist. Oh, you don't like bats. You don't like eating bats. You don't like eating rats. You're a racist. What next? You'll get racist for. Oh, I don't know. I'll probably just get racist for the fact that I'm wearing this jumper.
Yeah, pretty much anything that you do could be considered racist if somebody doesn't like it. But it's like, hey, the plague was caused by rats. They carry the virus. Bats, the same thing. So you just want to keep yourself safe. That's all.
Yeah. So yeah. Oh yeah, I can be called racist for wearing this jumper because this is the GOP color.
Oh yeah, it's red. So anything red, burgundy, whatever, that's considered to be racist.
Racist drink.
The drink is racist too.
Yep. So, yep. Iowa dad versus Pocahontas. Yeah. I applaud him for that. I love the fact that he did not give in to any of her horse.
Yeah, I'm with you. I understand.
Yeah, I didn't want to swear because I didn't want to get cancelled. So I missed over 2 weeks of it because of your show, because I don't go on Wednesdays anymore because I have work on Thursdays. Then on Saturdays, and then you weren't here last Saturday.
Right.
Oh, wait, what happened? Where were you last Saturday in which you had to miss?
I was in Charlotte, North Carolina for the Brexit rally.
Oh, okay. Were you campaigning?
Nah, I was just there, just hanging out.
Okay. Did you meet anyone, any other YouTubers like Brandon Tatum, Candace Owens?
Well, I already know them already. I met them before many times. So
okay.
I did see Brandon there. We took a picture together, but I've already known Brandon. Met a lot of you guys, people that are in the chat. I met Sushi there. Met a lot of people that were there that are, that watched the show. So met a lot of great people there. It was really good time.
Okay. And Oprah thinks she did not. So Oprah has officially ditched the Me Too movement.
Not the movement, just a documentary that she was a part of. She took her name off of it.
Oh, but this could be a sign that she's getting herself red pilled.
No,
you never know.
No, because she came out and said that she still supports the sentiment of the movie and the women that are in it, but she said that some of the stories weren't necessarily 100% on point, and then the producers didn't do things that she wanted, so she took her name off of it, but she still supports the people that are in the movie. So it's kind of weird.
That was me at one point for a long time, that, I don't agree with this. Then I became a little more disattached, and then, eventually you just move on.
That could be, but I don't know. Oprah.
Yeah.
That's kind of a but if she were to flip and do something else, that'd be a really a powerful thing for her to flip.
Yeah, like Kanye did.
Yeah, but I think Oprah at this point, she's way too far deep into the swamp of Hollywood to do anything different.
Yeah, and they'll probably try and get her killed if she did.
Now Oprah, she'd be the kind of person that would get somebody else killed, in my opinion.
Okay. Oh, and then there's this Virginia gun rally impeachment trial.
Nah, that's not what that is. That was just a rally, and then you're talking about the impeachment trial. That's two different things.
No, sorry, I meant the gun rally.
Hey, but the gun rally was great. It was a good moment for Virginia to show that you can have like 70,000 people, most of them armed, come in one place, have a rally about the Second Amendment rights and not have any kind of violence. Meanwhile, if you go to an Antifa rally, it may not be that same way. You might get beat up, sprayed with a can of mace and some wet cement and all of that, just for being the conservative. But at the guns rally, it was all good, no problems at all.
Antifa. Yeah, we haven't heard much from them these days. They just seem to have disappeared from the face of the earth.
They still might be around here and there, but they definitely didn't want to be at that gun rally acting up, because if everybody has guns, I mean, you just kind of you're outnumbered.
Yeah, you're looking for trouble. You're looking for trouble.
Yeah,
you're
you don't
basically turning up
to
a knife. Do not turn up to a knife. Sorry, do not turn up to a gunfight with a knife. Have you heard that saying?
That's right. That's pretty much what it is, man. 100%. But hey, I got more calls. I got more calls on the line.
Imagine going this to a gunfight.
You don't want that, man. But hey, thank you for the call as always, man. I got more calls on the line.
Yep, I shall see you on Sunday.
Sunday, your time. Saturday, my time.
Yep, I shall see you then.
All righty, man. Peace.
Peace.
All right, great call from my man Nippin as always, and thank you all for being here. The number to call is 434-658-1220. I have super chats to read right quick, then I'm going to get right back into the calls. Thank you to Super Rude Dog, who says lunch is over, back to work. Keep the faith, bro. Hey, thank you for that, man. Definitely appreciate you. He also says Jimmy Carter signed executive order reducing education money. I think I already read that one. Let me see. He also says everyone speaks of the mass exodus from California. However, we see no talk of the New York issue. They're leaving New York at a much higher rate. Yeah, New York is a issue as well, and that's been like that for a long time. You know, being from Virginia, a lot of New Yorkers came to Virginia, North Carolina. You know, pretty much like half of my class at one point was New Yorkers in Virginia when I was in like grade school. But thank you for your donation. Definitely appreciate you. He says it's called the Bush Doctrine. Everyone is on board with this. Everyone. 911 payback is what it is. Welcome to America. Thank you for your donation. Shout out to Zedoch's King, who says this is on behalf of the caller, probably the teacher, if I'm not mistaken. Thank you for that. I appreciate you. Let me see. I got some more here. Thank you to Richard Chase Jr., who says you could sell back to the school for cents on a dollar. Talking about the books. Yeah, if you get these, $1 trillion books, you can sell them back to the school for cents on the dollar. You bought it for like $300, get about $25 back. That's pretty much how that goes. But thank you for your donation. And thank you to Sushi, who says, fact, Nancy Pelosi spent taxpayer money on gold pens to hand out to her friends. Trump uses a Sharpie to sign executive orders that change the country. Exactly. He using the Sharpie marker, nothing fancy, signing these very important executive orders that changes the way that we do things for the better. She has these really expensive pens as items that are probably, and you know what? You're probably going to see some of these pens on eBay, like within the next year. Some broke staffer or something might steal one and try to sell it for rent money, but I digress. Let's get to the next call. Let's go to 912. You're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
ABL, this is Don from Savannah. What's up?
Everything's good, man. Can't complain. What's going on?
Oh man, just got home, feed my dogs, eat some ice cream. The American dream, brother.
Yes, indeed.
Hey, about the school thing. I don't know. Have you ever heard of the Prussian school model?
No, I haven't.
Okay, so long story short, Google it when you get a chance. So, like in the late 1800s, the Prussians, which was like somewhere around Poland, the country's not there any longer. Anyway, I digress. They had some of the best soldiers, and like these big shots from America and around the world were like, hey, how can we have these soldiers? They were like, you got to use our school system. Well, the school system is highly regimented, divided up by age, and so anyway, these big shots were like, well, we don't need all these soldiers right now. What can we do? Well, they also make good workers. So like our foundation of our school system in America is basically designed to turn out worker bees or soldier bees. And I mean, it's just like going to a job. You think, the bell rings, you got to be at your station. The bell rings, it's time for lunch. The bell rings, time to go back from lunch. The bell rings, it's home. You know, it's like, and you know, if you think about it in a hierarchical sense of like the military, like the person immediately above you is basically, you know, God. You know, like the teacher is God in school. You know, so you know, to a certain degree, but that foundation is a 19th century holdover, and I mean, without it, our school system is always, I mean, without some kind of change to that model about the tightly regimented classes, the, you know, kids of all certain ages or the same age being stuck together, is always going to have problems. Like before then, like kids would come in and like the smart kids, you know, might be a little bit older. Well, they would help the teacher, you know, like with some of the younger kids, yada, yada. It's a big, long thing. I've read a lot about it, something to look into. But it's real interesting. But until we get past that, our school systems are going to suck. Not to mention the government involvement in it. But another thing that I hadn't seen a lot of, or I hadn't seen anybody. So like, I guess because I'm a quote unquote undecided voter, like I'm getting a lot of targeted ads by all the Democratic candidates on social media. Okay. And like I get Bloomberg and Steyer, you know, he's paying for a lot of ads. And I think I got a Elizabeth Warren ad, and man, the comments on the targeted ads are brutal. They're just crazy. Like a Mike Bloomberg ad, it's like, go back to New York, Mike. You know, you screwed up their city. Like, what are you trying to do? Screw up our whole country. You know, just crazy, brutal. Now, if you go, like, I was like, oh my God. So I went to their actual Facebook page. Now, the people that are, you know, like the page and follow the page, if you go to their page, their comments are more laudatory, but the targeted advertisements, man, those people are sinking, and it's just, it's almost comical if it wasn't so sad.
Hey, but you know, that's a good sign for me, because that lets me know that, you know, people are getting these ads and they're rejecting them. It's like, nope, don't want this. This ain't what it is. And you're seeing the voting happening right there in the comments. In my opinion, you're seeing kind of a reflection of what's going to happen in 2020, like in at the end of this year.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. It's just wild. I hadn't heard anybody, you know, talk about that, and I listened to you and Jericho and Tim Pool and Razor Fist, but man, they are, yeah, those the clown car, man. I mean, I don't know who coined the term, but it's appropriate. That's all I have for you, man. I just first time caller, and I do, like everybody else, man, I do appreciate what you do. You're like, you know, a man of the people. Like, you know, you kind of bits and pieces about your background, and you're just like a regular guy that's doing, you know, what you do. And I mean, that's what it takes to connect with other regular people, man. It's just not be snooty like these liberal media elites.
That's right, man. Thank you for that, man. I really appreciate that.
All right. Well, hey, man, have a good night and keep rocking, buddy.
All right, now, same to you.
All right. Later.
All right. Shout out to the caller. Great call. Fantastic call. And thank you all for being here. Let's get to my next call here. 559, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, what's up, ABL? This is Seha.
All right, man. What's going on?
Oh, man, you're going on, brother. Hey, I just wanted to touch on this impeachment thing going on, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, looking at these clowns up there, you got Schiff and Nadler, and they're going off the deep end and talking all this crazy stuff, right? You know, I think, dear leader Obama, I think he's still calling the shots for everybody who's left in the deep state, all the holdovers, he's calling the shots. And I think for somebody like Schiff and Nadler and Pelosi to be acting the way they're acting, I think they've sold their souls, and they're like sacrificial lambs,
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, that could be going on, definitely.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy to see somebody act the way that they're acting and carrying on and doing what they're doing, and it's maybe they're, if it doesn't work, they're going all, they got all their cards out there, they're going all in. If it doesn't work, you know what, hey, they're going to lose their seats maybe to their, they might lose their next vote or whatever. But maybe they got some cash, for putting out and trying to, put President Trump, trying to knock him off. I don't know. It's just, I've never seen anything like this before. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it really is. I think the main thing is kind of like a holdover still from 2016, that campaign cycle, because I realized they didn't want Trump in there because they couldn't control him. He's like a bull in the china shop. Even you could control a George W. You could control a Barack Obama. That's kind of like that deep state, that swamp Trump talks about, that exists. These federal government employees, these big time donors, they feel like they run the show. And if you're the president, you just come in there to do their bidding and to abide by their wishes. But when you don't do that, all of a sudden the whole system gets kind of thrown out of whack. All the plans they've had for years and years, all of a sudden now come to a screeching halt because you have a guy in there that's not part of the program. So yeah, I mean, Obama's part of it. All of them are part of it, and they're pretty much going to do what they were trying to do from the very beginning, and that's to get Trump out of the way so they're able to get whatever they want done. It's just not working out too well, and they're getting frustrated. So now you're seeing some just absurd things happening.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, and you know what? They're going full blown crazy right now, and it's we'll see what happens. Durham and Barr, they're on the hunt right now, and I think they're on the up and up. So that's why everybody's scared on the deep state and Obama's cronies. They're running scared, and Schiff, he's a part of that. He's got cronies over there. He's part of that Ukrainian mess too. So, hey, brother, I appreciate you picking up, man, and Godspeed, man.
Thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you. All right, shout out to the caller. Great call. And let me get to the next call here. 323, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, how you doing, ABL? It's Mike from Southern California.
All righty, Mike. What's going on?
Not too much. Loving the live chat, loving the videos you're posting, keeping everyone informed. Appreciate it. Yeah, I just wanted to kind of call in and let you know, I don't know what you think about this, but with the internet nowadays and all this impeachment stuff going on, I just feel like it's almost like we're on the fringe of like a new sort of news environment and like political environment. I feel like, I don't know what you think about it, but like back in the day, people would just get their news from like newspapers and letters and things, and I don't know how you feel about it, but like I feel like we're on the edge of like a new sort of political landscape. I don't know. I just kind of wanted to call in and see if you had any thoughts about that. Like the internet, I feel like getting news across the world very fast.
Oh yeah.
I feel like we're on the fringe of mass communication and like everyone knowing what's going on. And I feel like we're blessed to be in America where we can vote and affect things. And I feel like, I hope that, I don't know, I believe in a brighter future.
Oh, definitely. Definitely as far as information is concerned. I mean, the old school media, they had a monopoly basically on how information was disseminated, but that's not the case anymore. And I think a big turning point for me was when they had that summit at the White House for social media, and they put social media people in front where the media would normally be, and they put the media in the back. Oh, the media were mad about that.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, the media were mad about that. People were in there. It was like almost some fights going on because the old school media realized that us, the new school media, are just making their jobs obsolete. It's just like when the
basically.
It's like when the milkman and the Iceman see the guy selling fridges door to door. It's like, okay, you're selling this refrigerator. I'm not going to have a job anymore, so I'm going to be upset with you because you're making my job obsolete. It's the same thing with them. But that's just life. Things change, and you got to adapt. And if they can't adapt, then oh well. And it's for the better that things are changing because we are able to give out information that's not so biased and not so just one-sided with big-time corporate sponsors behind us telling us what to say and how to say it.
It's amazing. Yeah, I love like waking up in the morning, checking the news from many different outlets.
Yeah.
You know, not just like a news website, but you know, Twitter, YouTube, just different things, and sort of being able to see a bigger picture instead of like the newspaper. And I just feel like we're, you know, all the social media, personalities. I feel like we're on like almost a new frontier, and I think it's really cool. And I feel like that's why this whole impeachment thing is very strange, because like you have like an old school ideology and you have a lot of new school people and you have everyone kind of caught in between, and there's like so much confusion. And I feel like I don't know, I kind of have high hopes, like, all right, maybe like after all this kind of settles down in a couple years, we'll all be on sort of a new page. And of course, I'm excited for the end of the year 2020 to see what goes down. So I'll keep updated with all your videos.
All right, thank you, man. Definitely appreciate you for the call.
Oh yeah, no problem. Thanks for the video. Thanks for answering, and hopefully we'll chat later. Appreciate you, ABL, and have a good night. Thank you.
All right, now,
keep
same
watching.
to you.
Thank you. Bye.
All right, shout out to the caller. Great call. He has a very good point about different media sources. You can just get up in the morning and go to wherever you want to go, rather than just getting one newspaper or one or two or three TV stations. You can go to a myriad of different people and different points of view and just find whatever you want. You can go here, there. You can just go to like 20 different people and see if they're talking about a thing that is relevant or not, or what's the headline, read the headline, read the article, see the video. There's a lot of different ways to consume news nowadays and different sources to get it from, so you're able to get a more well-rounded picture rather than just kind of a snapshot. But let me get to the next call. 203 on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Kevin out of Connecticut, sir. How are you?
I'm well. How about yourself?
I'm doing pretty good. I just had something to say. I remember last time I talked to you, you were talking about the percentage of abortions in America since '73 when it comes to the black community, correct?
Yeah.
Well, you said it was like 20 million, correct?
Yes.
Well, I did research since then, and then I actually called someone up about it, right? And I told them the statistics, and then some girl got on the phone. I guess she was like black, and she said that I have like a brain power problem. And she was saying to me that there's more. I guess she was talking about that there was more opiate overdoses and cancer and all that than there has been abortions, and that's totally
false.
Incorrect.
Yeah, I mean that's not even true.
She's way off.
Matter of fact, that's so untrue, because once you combine all those deaths, like HIV, AIDS, homicide, suicide, car accidents, fire, all of that, and you combine it, it's still less than an abortion every year.
Yeah, because I was looking on what's that? I guess it's a website. It's called the Case Against 73.
Yeah.
You ever heard that website?
Uh-huh.
Well, I was on it and I downloaded it and I got some information. It says over 12% of the U.S. population is black, and yet somehow between 28 to 36% of all, and this is according to 2014, it's probably more since then, abortions were performed on black babies.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yep. That's right. That's right on it.
But here's my question, and I always say and I said this earlier to the subject. I said if the Democrats care about like the black community like they say, right? Why is there like close to 75 to 80% of all the Planned Parenthoods in minority communities, like urban areas.
Yep.
And why do they push this abortion thing so bad? I understand that the person that opened up these clinics was actually a racist, and she wanted to like exterminate the minorities.
Yeah, Margaret Sanger, like Planned Parenthood started as a eugenics clinic.
Yeah.
For to have a pure race, and she wanted to eliminate the Asians, the Jews, and the blacks.
Yeah, and I understand that. And the thing was is that like these Democrats, and they say that they're for the minorities, they're for blacks, they're for Asians, Hispanic, and all that, right? Which is a lie. But if they are, why are they always? And the same thing with like the Women's March. If they're so for women's rights, why are they so hell bent on eliminating like the things that they're so supposedly fighting for?
Right.
Because when it comes to the blacks, they always say we're for the blacks, and everything is like racist. When it comes to that. Well, my question is like they're killing. They're basically like just trying to wipe out the whole population. Because if you think about it, right, all the babies that have been born, you're talking about almost half of the black population has been wiped out because of abortion since '73. Correct?
Yeah, right around that. Yep.
And the thing with that is if they're like, it always goes back, they're always saying that they're for the black people, they're for this, they're for that, but why are they always pushing like abortion? People say, well, Planned Parenthood is not all about abortion, but the majority of their money they get for it is for abortion.
It's all about abortion, because if it's not all about abortion, they say it's only like 3% of their services, that whatever. It's like, okay, if it's not all about abortion's not really a big part of what you do, then eliminate the service. How about that? And then whatever else you do should be enough to suffice. But the reality is that Planned Parenthood is an abortion mill. They may give you a brochure or a pamphlet or something like that, but they can't even they're not even licensed to do mammograms. So, like, it's an abortion mill. It's
and then the thing is that they always say, like, Black Lives Matter. All right, Black Lives Matter, but you're voting for a party that is basically killing the cause that you're fighting for. Like, they're for Black Lives Matter, but they're also for abortion. So how can you be for Black Lives Matter and for life matters in general if you're all about pro-choice when it comes to all these marches and all these movements?
That's right. Yeah.
And then another thing with school, and I'll leave you with that, is like you have the deficit of like 1.6 trillion. My question is, what are they learning besides being indoctrinated? Because you bring the kid today, you pay the kid to go to college, and he comes home to your house, and everything is like now he's like a commando in the army of like politics.
Right. Exactly. So it's like, what are we really doing? We're spending money to get our children indoctrinated for what?
That's it. You send them off. You send them off to school to learn something, to get education, and he can go off and probably, and get a career or whatever, or sports. But the guy is like protesting. Like, I didn't put you there to protest. I put you there to go to school. And why are you telling my kid all this crap about communism and Marxism and all this other stuff, and you're not giving them the proper basics to where he can actually have progress in his own life and stop being a victim?
Right.
It's a crazy world, man.
Exactly.
And the thing about this impeachment is like, and another thing too about this is like.
Well, I'm sorry. I gotta cut you right there, as I gotta go wrap up the show here. I'm sorry.
All right. Well, you have a good night. You have a good night. Thank you very much for your time and your response.
All right, thank you for the call, man. I definitely appreciate you.
No problem.
All right, shout out to the caller. I most certainly appreciate him, and appreciate you guys for joining the show. That'll be a wrap for me tonight. Again, thank y'all for joining. If you're not subscribed already, please do so. If you have not liked the video yet, please do that as well. Subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed. Click the bell as well. Once you click the bell, you get notified if I post a new video or when I go live. It may or may not work. Just try it out and see what happens. Thank y'all again. Shout out to the moderators. We got Bill from the Hills, Michelle A. Ansel, We got Killer Sushi 99, Cynthia Webb, I see you. Thank you all. Zealand Zen is in the building. Alrighty. Thank you all for doing what you do. I definitely appreciate you. We had some trolls in the building tonight. You were able to get them sniped on out of there, so I thank you all for that. And Super Chat, let me read the last few. If I have any, then I'll go ahead and wrap it on up, put a nice bow on the top. Thank you to Kim Bone, who says, only live show I watch start to finish. Great job. Hey, thank you for that, man. That means a lot to me. And thank you for becoming a member as well. Caught that too, so thank you for that. And I think that'll be it for Super Chats. Thank you to all the members, the Super Chatters, the PayPal donators, people that are on Patreon. And thank you to everybody that watches, that shares, subscribes, likes, comments, all that good stuff. Thank y'all for what y'all do. But that'll be a wrap for me. I'll be back live Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern to 11 p.m. Eastern. And then Saturday, same thing, 8 p.m. Eastern to 11 p.m. Eastern. And that'll be a wrap for me. So until next time, y'all be safe. I'm out. And peace.